Could this be here will make you reminisce? Sitting back, pondering, wondering if this really it. I'm really it. Everyone told me since I was just a jit that I would make a difference. Like instantly started making hits. July 25th, moms and pops received the gift. That was me, the golden child, the black sheep. Now I'm grown and proud. Pops died, I was 12 or 13. Turned the crib at 13. That was some niggas' worst dream. Older sis was 16, older brother was 19. I looked up to him, I felt he taught me the right thing. I was skipping school and hanging all night on that night scene, flipping packs, stealing cars and breaking in houses for nice things. Future looking blit, past colder than ice cream. Mom's throwing fits and I'm fighting and serving crack fiends. Where I'm from, you either the hustler or the doer. Had a fetish for cash and too much pride to be a doer. But don't get it twisted, I seen them hustlers turn to doers and doers turn to hustlers. That's the life in the sewer. My granny is my rock, she knew her grandbabies was rulers. So I'ma forever show my respect I ever knew ya. Hallelujah. To God. Allah. To God. Elohim shit, nigga. Meditation. Hey look, malicious wounded, saw the battery as a jury charge. In and out of police cars, ain't never gonna respect the law. Expect the law to shoot you in your back and flip your closest friend. Claiming that you telling and you'll never see your spam again. Niggas fall for everything, how you stand for anything? Niggas tripping in they rain, I'm dry and catching them again. Cause I done live a hard life, my hands I play my cards right. In that kitchen all night, turning salt to that hard white. I'm alright, but Logan, powder blue up on that left side. Crippin' with my south side hitters, but I'm from west side. Yes, I'm riding on any vision in my eyes. My mind spiritual didn't help to be baptized. Skinny dip been swimming that lake of fire like 4 times. Flesh still attached, but I'm burning all on that inside. Sit back, thinking in concentration and no mind. No lie, truthfully, honestly, I'm the
Shalom, shalom, shalom. What's going on? You muted, brother Eric, the mad scientist. Gotta unmute your mic. There we go. You muted back up. There you go. I hear you a little bit. Yep. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know why I keep muting. Yeah, what's up, man? Just trying to get this presentation done today. I think it was just something that we needed to really talk about because I think, like I said before, I think a lot of people don't know what mythology is. And I want to jump in and through the angelology in there because I think it's part of mythology, you know what I mean? So I just think a lot of people need to learn what this stuff is. And when they get to learning this and understand what this is, and the way I break this down, they're going to have more understanding, not just in biblical terms of way biblical stories is written, also in how Greek was written, also in how the Egyptians wrote, also in how Mesopotamia wrote. It will be a better understanding to be able to understand and research in ancient cultures. Because all these cultures are intertwined with each other. We have to understand. We have to study Mesopotamia. We have to study Egypt. We have to study Canaan. We have to study Israel. We have, you know, what I mean, we have to study all these places because they all intertwined. People that they don't conquer each other. They don't trade it with each other. They don't, you know, did a lot of things. So it's gonna be a great discussion. So I'm ready when you are.
Well, do me a favor though, because your microphone is doing that gargle a little bit. You want to go out and come right back in?
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's better.
Okay, yeah. Sometimes I just unhook it and put it back sometimes. Yeah.
Well, you know how it is. This is the Monday, so you got to expect a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, even myself would call it the Monday blues.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, I think you're right. We need to like, you know, show the people what's going on with this. You know what I mean, this is like something like, even to me, I think that it'll be edifying. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then, you know, you said Thursday you trying to do the talk about the metaphors in there and all that stuff too. Like, you know what I mean? So Yeah, so
Yeah.
we trying to get people to the next level now. You know, we at the first
Hmm.
level. Most people at the first level when they get to we trying to get you to the next level to get to
Hmm.
understanding. It's other levels, but we got to get y'all to the second level first before we go beyond that. So the first level, the second level, we just trying to get y'all to understand it. Once you understand this, and understand how mythology works, how this stuff works, how they created angelology, and how these so-called angels stuff that they talk about so much and putting about how they was created and pushed in a certain way. Now we're not saying it's not beings that's outside of us. We're not saying that it's it's not people in different dimensions. We're not saying that um it's no afterlife. You know, we're not saying stuff like this. We're just getting y'all understanding of the wordplay that they're using comes from something else, and they put it on there and then change it around through the word. So we can show you what you mean by this. All right.
If you get deep, so let me hear it.
Let's go. Let me know when it's up. All right. So, Mad Science presents mythology, what, how, and why it is used. Showing the three types of mythology, showing real events, creatures, and people covered with myth. And the first thing I want to say, the problem is when people hear mythology, they hear myth, the first thing they think is what is not real. And I'm trying to show you that mythology does not necessarily mean it's not real. That is only one part that they try to use, and then these atheists come and try to tell you, "Oh, this is a myth to make you think they believe that well, myth means not real." It doesn't mean that. Okay, so let's go to what, how, why is myth used? Myths are a part of every culture in the world and are used to explain natural phenomena, where people came from and how their civilization developed, and why things happen as they do. At their most basic level, myths comfort by giving a sense of order and meaning to what can sometimes seem a chaotic world. Mythology, from the Greek mythos, for story of the people, and logos for the word of speech. So the spoken story of people and a study and an interpretation of often scared tales and fables of a culture known as myths or a collection of such stories which deal with various aspects of human condition, good and evil, the meaning of suffering, human origins, the origin of place names, animals, cultural values and traditions, the meaning of life and death, the afterlife, ancestral stories of God and or a God. Myths express the belief and values about these subjects held by certain culture. What does this mean? This means that myth is how cultures created stories on how they think creation happened, how they think their culture came about, how they think how they, what we call superheroes or legends in the stories. All this stuff is about how mythology works. So when you go into places like Mesopotamia, they talk about Ike and the Lil, but they talk about places like Babylon. They talk about Nimrod. You know, they talk about Murdoch. They talk about if you go into their story, they believe that some of these deities helped them would help them create these societies. When you go into Egypt, Ra is the sun. Horus is the sun. You see what I'm saying? Thoth is supposed to be um later on became the creator of writing. But before that he was the creator, he's the creator of creation. So, you know what I mean, it through time they find deities and they find stories and they put all this stuff together keep to keep a part of their history, to keep a part of their science, to keep part what their belief system, all that is intertwined into mythology. Right? So what one calls mythology in the present day, it should be remembered, was the religion of ancient past. The stories which make up the corpus of ancient mythology serve the same purpose for the people of the time as the stories from accepted scripture do for people today. They explain comfort and direct an audience and further provided a sense of unity, cohesion, and protection to a community of like-minded believers. Okay. Four theories of myth. This is not the four types, it's the four theories. Okay. You have functionalist myth. Theory explains to how myths help teach morality and social behavior by stating what should and shouldn't do and the consequences of our wrongdoings. This theory also states that myth was created for only social control and served the purpose of ensuring steadiness in a society. So what can you call a myth in the Bible? You can actually call the Ten Commandments in the laws of a myth in the Bible, because it's based off of the functional myth was based off of morals and based off something that can that they say control, but something that can, I guess you say, can control, because laws is meant to control. Laws is meant to set an order. Some people say control, some people say order. It's really to set an order, to set in place, to tell you this is what you don't do, and with this what you can do, and if this happens, God will punish you. You see what I'm saying? So this is what this means. A lot of stories is based off of morals, meaning the person in the story or the history could not be real. But the moral of the story is when you go to the boy that cried wolf, I'm gonna say it again. The boy is not real, the wolf is not real. But the incident, but the message of the story is real. That if you lie, you lie, you lie, and eventually you tell the truth, what's gonna happen? Nobody's gonna believe you. So this is what that means, okay? Creation myths from different cultures are all examples of rational myths. They explain how man was created and explain how God and goddess used and what actions they took to create human beings. Every ancient nation has a creation story. Every single one. Mesopotamia, Egypt, Canaan, Israel, Greece, Norse, the Romans, the everybody has a creation story how they believe humans came to be. Okay. Some might have took some from other people, so I mean, but it's still everybody has one. Structural myths are said to be myths based on human emotion. These types of myths show two sides of human mind, the good side and the bad side. See what I'm saying? So what I'm gonna explain what this means. I'm gonna explain what that means. That means that they actually made gods or deities out of emotion, meaning the god of love, the god of hate, the god of anger. The most people who's known for doing it are the people like the Greeks. Okay, the psychological myth theory states how myths are based on human emotion and that they come from a human subconscious mind. Okay, so let's go to, hold on. Matter of fact, oh man, I think this might be. Hold on. Let me see something. Myth. Uh, I think that's it. Okay, that's the right one. All right. I just want to make sure, cause I mean, hold on. Let me make sure that's the right one, cause I added some more stuff to it. Oh man. Oh, I got it. Okay, this is the right one. Okay. All right. Let me go back. Let me go back. Go back. Go back. Okay. The three types of myth. Okay. Ideological, anti-logical, historical, and psychological. Okay. There are three subtypes of anthological myths. Anthological, sometimes spelled etological, myths explain the reason why something is the way it is today. The word anthological is from the Greek word Asian, meaning reason or explanation. Please note that the reasons given in the etymological myth are not the real or scientific reasons. They are explanations that may meaning for us as a human being. There are three subtypes of etymological myths: natural, etymological, and religious. Okay, so this can kind of explain, like, okay, then let's go in the Bible. Why sin was created. because Adam and Eve ate the apple, and that's how sin was created. That's a mythical story of how they believe sin was introduced to us. See what I'm saying? But some people would take it literal. But even if you take it as a myth, it's still a story that we base it off and how we believe and why we taught, and it's a teaching. It's not really just has to be scientific or accurate science or accurate history, but it's something that we taught or the reason of why sin was created. Okay, a natural anthological myth explains the aspect of nature. For example, you could explain lightning and thunder by saying that Zeus is angry, right? Now, let me ask you something, DOA, right? When you was younger, because I know it from the South, right? When it thunders, what did they used to tell you? Did your parents used to give you a myth story of that?
That's saying that God talking, something like that.
Yeah, some people
Yeah,
sometimes they would say the devil's beating his wife, right? When
something
like
like that.
thunder.
All different tales.
Yeah, see, these
Yeah.
are mythical. Or if lightning come, or God is mad, or rain, or God is crying, or you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying. These are mythical or mythology stories that we have been passed down to us. That's not real. Because if you study science, you know why it rains. You know where lightning comes from. You know where thunder comes from. So it's a mythical story that we was taught. That's why I said we do mythical. We do mythology all day and don't even know we do it. All right.
Yeah, that's true. That is true on that. Some of the old folks
Etym
used to be scared with the thunder and
etym
lightning come.
yeah, yeah. But did your mama used to make you turn off the TV and the lights when it thundered?
Yep. Turn the TV off.
because
Don't
they
make no
because they
noise.
believe my mama used to actually believe just because my TV on, everybody else lights would cut off. You see what I'm saying? Turn the lights off, the TV off for it get cut off. You're like, what? That don't even make sense. But you
Look
know,
what Vicar says. He says, or if it rains while the sun is out, the devil beats his wife.
yeah, yep, yep.
Yeah.
All mythology. That's all
Hmm.
mythology. All right. So let's get to um the etymological anthological myth explain the origin of a word. Etymology is the study of origins. For example, you could explain the name of a goddess Aphrodite by saying that she was born in a sea form, since Aphros is the Greek word for sea form. You see what I'm saying? So what that means is they have natural gods. They had gods that explain why lightning happened, why rain happened. They had gods of the sea. They had gods of the underworld. They had gods for every single thing. But it did these gods were not literal gods. That's why we tell people in ancient times there were deities. To me, deities and the way we look at the Most High is not the same because when a person speaks of Ra, and they make a whole story of Ra, it's actually the sun. When they talk about Zeus, Zeus is actually lightning. You know, then you go into deeper to the Greeks. You talk about this person. This person is based off of Jupiter. They're not real characters. Okay, this is part of this type of myth. A religious anthological myth explains the origin of religious ritual. Example, you can explain the Greek religious ritual or Eleusinian mysteries by saying that they originated when the Greek goddess Demeter came down to the city of Eleusis and taught the people how to worship her. Now, is this a real story? No. This is a cultural people making something of how this happened. This is how cultures did. Because how you think hell was created? How you think heaven was created? Heaven was them taking a real place or something like hell and saying, look, hell was a place in West Jerusalem. It was Johanna and Topeth, and they called it the lake of fire where they baptized where they sacrificed humans and babies to the god Malak and this and that. And then later on they turned it into a place after you live. I mean after you die. That you burn it up. That's where the fire comes from, burning because of the sacrifice. Okay. Shalom, God Great 202. All right. All three of these explanations are not true. Zeus' anger is not the correct explanation for lightning and thunder. Euphrates' name was not actually derived from Greek word Aphros, and Demeter did not establish her own religious rituals in the town of Eleusis. Rather, all three explanations had meaning for the ancient Greeks who told them in order to help themselves understand the world. Now, I hope people listening because I don't want people not to listen and ignore, and then we have a conversation again. People don't understand what I say when I mean milk. This is why we are doing this. So I hope everybody joins soon. Okay. Historical myths. Historical myths are told about a historical event, and that they help keep the memory of that event alive. Ironically, in historical myths, the accuracy is lost, but meaning is gained. The myths about the Trojan War included the Lilith and the Odyssey could be classified as historical myths. The Trojan War did occur, but the famous characters that we know from um, Iliad and the Odyssey probably did not exist. So what they're saying is the Trojan War, the parts of this did happen. Some of the events that happen inside of this is not accurate, but what it does is preserves the story. Because what happens is when you tell a boring story to people, people don't listen. But if I tell you a exciting story, they listen. That's why the New Testament is so exciting to people because this man made people see. He walked on water. He took wine and made it to. He took water and made it to wine. He took he took one fish and made it to a million or something like that. He took one fish and fed a million people with it. You know what I'm saying? He did all these this supernatural stuff but even though it is not a real story, so I can't really.
5,000, five something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but I
5,000.
can't even. I can't
According
even.
to according to
Yeah, yeah.
they were.
That that's kind of like a bad example because that story is not real. So, but it's based off of what I'm saying is the supernatural stuff that they created, like the big horse and the stuff like that, that made the story interesting, kept the story preserved to where it passed down to where the history of it is true. The Trojan Wars is true, but the whole story of it is not accurate. So that's why when the archaeologists go try to find these stuff, they might don't find everything that's in this story and say, okay, this one real because this, and this, because a lot of this stuff was put in to preserve the story to pass down. And tribes do it, all around the world did it. Have made all type of mythological stories to pass down amongst their tribes. But eventually, what happens is it gets to a generation where people start taking it literal, and that's when the problems
Yep.
start happening.
Take it a literalness when it comes to a serious problem.
And this is an example of a historical event that based off of mythology. Now we know people didn't discover America. Okay, we know people invaded America, but that to say that Christopher Columbus, right? Listen to this. Christopher discovered America. It's contrary to popular belief. Christopher Columbus was not the first European to reach the Americas. Norse explorer Leif Erikson is believed to have reached North America around the year 1000, almost 5 centuries before Columbus set foot in the Bahamas. Despite this, Columbus is often credited with the discovery of America, perpetuating a historical event that has endured for centuries. Now, what? Now, do you see when they say believe? So happens is he's based off of Chris Columbus is based off of what you call the Spanish and them myth, right? Then you go to the Viking myth. They believe their myth say he went first. But then you go behind longer than that. We can prove the African tribes went to America before these people. You see what I'm saying? So that Leif Erikson is a myth because that's why they believe it's their myth that
Yeah.
they try to push because they know it's older than the myth that's pushed before them.
Hmm.
But then the reality is people was here before, way before they were, and no, they didn't discover nothing.
Some of
You
it's
know what I'm
urban
saying?
legends and stuff. Urban
Yeah,
legends.
but it's theirs. You see what I'm saying? So what happens is it's called his story. So when they came, they pushed their myth on you. So now you believe in their myth. So when they come and say Erickson, the Vikings was here before y'all, you believe it because you are under their myth. But if you go to your story or you go to the African story, you or the indigenous story, you understand a lot of these people was here before they were even here. Okay, so psychological myth. Psychological myth try to explain why we feel and act the way we do. A psychological myth is different from an ontological myth because a psychological myth does not try to explain one thing by way of something else, like explaining lightning and thunder with Zeus' anger does. And as a psychological myth, the emotion itself seen as a divine force coming from outside that can directly influence a person's emotions. For example, the goddess Aphrodite is sometimes seen as the power of erect love. Oh, I mean, erotic love. Erotic love. When someone said or did something that did not want to do, the ancient Greeks might have said Aphrodite made them do it. Now, who does Aphrodite sound like?
You're afraid of something stole something from somebody. Period.
Afraid sounds like Cupid,
Mm,
because Euphrates and Cupid. That's all That's a mythological. See, mythology works like this. They take love. So the Greeks made Aphrodite made her the god of love. So now when a person falls in love, they say thank them Aphrodite because they think she's the one that made it happen. The same way
mm.
when Valentine's happened, what they say they got a mythical story that this little kid with pampers on with wings flies around with a flies around with an arrow and hits you. But Aphrodite and Cupid are the same being because they all related to love. That's what they really are. They are love. They just different characters out of myth. And if we go into this is another way I can explain it right here, right? This is narcissism. So when people get narcissism, this comes from a Greek god. So everything we have learned in America, let me break something down. We learned everything we learned in America comes from mythology as words. When a person says hypnotize or hypnotic, or hypnotize or hypno or sleep, these are all words that come from the god Hypno. The god Hypno is the god of sleep, right? Who is the Hypno brother? Hypno brother is the god of death, who is Thanatos. Thanatos, because they would teach you that a lot of people say it, but they said it the wrong way. They'll say sleep is the cousin of death. No, sleep is the brother to death because you're more closer to dying in your sleep than any other time. Because when your heart slows down, your breathing slows down, and you can slip into death. So sleep and death are brothers. Their father is who? Their father is night, was Nyx. So their father is the god of night. Their mother is the god of darkness. So when do you go to sleep? At night. What is night? Night is darkness. What is closest to sleep? Death. See, but they made a whole family out of this. But this whole family is based off of real things that happened to you. But they just made it into a story. You see what I'm saying? So this is Narcissus. How Greek mythology influenced modern America. Origin of Narcissus. The myth of Narcissus being vain in Greek mythology, the word narcissistic is often used to refer to someone who is self-centered or does not stop looking in the mirror. This word comes from an ancient Greek
You
myth
know, I know people
about.
like that.
I kind of feel like you was gonna say. Centered and does not stop looking in the mirror. This word comes from an ancient Greek myth about Narcissus, a youth of incredible beauty who fell insatiably in love with his image, as it was it is was reflected in the water. Even to this day, the term narcissism is used to define an excessive admiration for oneself. So this guy got a curse on, and we got to a point where he cursed himself almost to where he couldn't stop looking at himself in the water, and he seen his image and like, man, I'm so beautiful that he got stuck.
All I can say is sounds familiar. Sounds familiar.
Okay. Let me see. All right. This is this is myths based on real events. real creatures and real people. Because again, when people hear myth, the first thing they say, "Oh, you trying to say the fake?" When I used to tell people, "Man, it has been thought." Oh, you trying to say the Bible was fake? No, that's not what that means. You just used to atheists and non-believers saying it so much that you think that's what it is. That's not what myth means. And they know that's not what it means, but they know you don't know what it means. So then we're gonna teach you what it means. Atlantis, one of the most well-known myths in human history, the first described in civilization as its peak sinking beneath the waves, lost for all eternity, is a heavily debated, but a number of archaeologists think that it could have been based on the collapse of a Minion empire around 3650 years ago. I mean, 3,650 years ago, a powerful volcanic eruption rocked Santorini, then referred to as Thera, and vast magma. Hold on, let me put it. Magma chamber was empty so catastrophically quickly that the core of the island collapsed, sending a tsunami across the Crete and flooding much of Thera and the inflooding Aegean Sea. Okay, Aegean Sea. Solid surface, a sea of Mayan civilization sunk beneath the waves and was never heard from again. Okay, so they're saying Atlantis was really based off a real historical place. Atlantis isn't real. This like what somebody said. Somebody I seen somebody ask on I forgot what show it was on. They said well Santa is based off of Saint Nicholas. So that's do that mean Santa is not real? Yes, it means Santa's not real. What are you talking about? The character that is based off is real, but Santa's not real. Okay, I don't care what it's based off because he's not a real character. He's based off a real character. There's a difference. Okay, Atlantis. So what they're saying, Atlantis, no, is not real. Some people say it's still. Some people will still say it is. But I'm just giving to. I'm not arguing if it's real or not. My point is to show that they're saying even if Atlantis is not real and it didn't happen, it is based off of a city that did shrink and was sunken. And this person was actually speaking on this and named it and named Atlantis over it. Okay, mythical humans based on real people. Merlin, one of the most famous prominent figures in Arthurian legend, Merlin serves the encounter of a wisdom seeking the aid of a eponymous king, born of the devil and intended as the Antichrist. So at part of the time they thought this man was Antichrist, okay? Merlin becomes a close advisor, but is eventually undone by his own lust for innate evil. Tricked by one of the female students after teaching her all his knowledge, Merlin is trapped within a magical prison and left to die. Although seemingly entirely fictional, after removing fantastical components of the Arthurian legend, the character of Merlin is surprisingly found upon a combination of two separate historical events. I mean, individuals, my bad. So, what they're saying is Merlin is a mythical character, but guess what? Merlin is actually based off of two people. So this is something Myth does too. Myth can take two people and actually combine them together and make one whole person.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So Myth can take two events, put it together, and make one whole event. You
Hmm.
see what I'm saying? So this is how different types of myths work, and you had to break it down to understand. Okay?
Hold on, I'll be
Let me
right
see.
back.
It
I'll
said,
be right back. Go ahead. Keep
okay.
talking. I'll be right back.
All right. This is the two Merlin is based off of. Merlin based off of two people. His name is Amga made it in the 12th century chronicle. Geoffrey O. Monmouth is Histoire Regium, written in 1136. The person known to audience today as Merlin is actually a merging of Murden, Wilts, and Ambrosius Aurelianus, a prophet and a madman associated with the town of Carmarthen in Wales and believed to have been a wise hermit who fled into the forest following the battle of um, Aphrodite during the late 6th century. Meanwhile, Aurelius was a war leader of the British who fought against the Anglo-Saxons during the 5th century, becoming a popular rendering of the duel. Monmouth's character became immediately success in folklore literature, enduring since a composite legend under a single moniker. So these two people together created Merlin. So Merlin is based off of these two people put together. This is how some of mythology work. They take history, they can take two events, put it together, make one, two people together, make one. Right? They can create a character of myth the story off based off a real person, and now you know the character. Now you know the mythical character, but you don't know the real historical person. Some of this stuff is to preserve a person, but when you go and study this mythical character, you can go back into who this mythical character is based off of. That's how it's called preserving, because it makes you want to watch it and look at it and say, "Well, this person ain't real. To who is it based off of?" Then it makes you go and lead into a person that's really in the historical figure. Okay. Now, I bet you people ain't know this. A lot of people don't know this. Dracula based off Vlad the Impaler, right? So Vlad the Impaler, as the ruler of Wallachia, Vlad became notorious for the brutal tactics of employed against his enemies, including torture, um, um, uh, ma- uh, mutilation, and mass murder. Through he didn't shy away from disembodiment, decapitation, or boiling or skinning his victim alive. He prepared method was impalement or driving a wood stake through their bodies and leaving them to die of exposure. During his campaign against Ottoman invaders in 1462, Vlad reportedly had as many of 20,000 victims impaled in the banks of the imprisoned. He was finally able to regain his seat in 1476, only to be killed in a battle the same year. Some particularly gruesome events claim that Vlad like to dine among the impaled bodies of his victims and would even dip his bread into their blood. These gory details, as well as his legally adopted name Dracula and his birthplace of Transylvania, have convinced many scholars that Vlad the Impaler provided partial inspiration for Stoker's famous vampire. So his nickname was Dracula. He lived in a place that really is called Transylvania. He impaled the people. If you see the sticks, he impaled you through he impaled you through the anal, and he went through your stomach, and a lot of times it went through either your chest or went through your mouth, and you did not die. Let me say this again. You did not die the same day. You actually was hanging up there, and you could hear people moaning. And when you sat at his table, he drunk blood and he dipped his bread in the blood. And if you were so disgusted at his table, he even see you disgusted, cry or anything, or look scared, he would kill you. And this is where Dracula is based off of. Dracula is based off of this. So Dracula is a mythical character of Vlad the Impaler. Okay, mythical creatures. Origin of mythical creatures. Every culture across the world will have their own folklore and their own versions of mythical creatures. We see mythical creatures first emerging in the classical era through the extensive collection of Greek mythologies. We can see mythical characters such as the Cyclops, Medusa, the Minotaur, and the Centaur. Classical mythical creatures served the purpose of emphasizing the heroism and those that defeated them by being monstrous. This is the same for later religious connotations, with the mythical creature coming to represent the devil and emphasizing the greatness of who defeated it, using representation of God. In medieval times, we can see mythical creatures beginning to have metaphorical significance. through the character of setting a true purpose and deliver a wider message about real world occurrences. Allegory. Mythical creatures will represent something symbolic. An example of these, the dragon, which came to represent the devil in biblical passages. Other mythical creatures found their origins in local folklore. For example, the Loch Ness monster is a famously inclusive, fabled creature said to have been hunted for thousands of years. I said Duke was a psych. Duke was a psych. Yeah, he was. Yeah, so these are mythical creatures, and a lot of time, a lot of some mythical creatures come from a real creature. Some are put together to like the same thing as mythology. They put together two creatures and made them one. You know what I mean? Or they try to explain a creature that really couldn't explain it, made a mythical term. It's a lot of stuff that comes on with this. It's not just one way. So when people say, "Oh, I know myth," and they try to explain one way, they don't know it. If they don't know all these things and don't know how mythology work as a whole, they don't know it, and they shouldn't be teaching it, right? Because it's dangerous. Centaur. A centaur appears in Greek mythology being half man, half horse. Centaurs often appear in Greek sculptures as primordial creatures. They represent chaos and savagery living in the mountains of Greece. They were outcast from society. Okay? Mythical creatures that could be based off of real creatures. The siren. In mythology, the dangerous female fatales lured sailors to a shipwreck and certain death for any who couldn't resist their tempting calls, sometimes depicted as mermaids. With the tail of a fish and the body of a beautiful woman, the Syrian was both a haunting and thrilling monster seafaring legends. In reality, some anthropologists believe sirens were inspired by dogons, a large sea mammal with a flooded tail and a close cousin of the manatee and the elephant. Like their animal relatives, dogons are peaceful plant-eating creatures, but since they live close to shore, approaching them too closely could risk a ship running around and hitting dangerous rocks, possibly inspiring their legends. So if you see, that's the CERN, what they call AK mermaid, and then on the left is what they call the Dogon that they said it could be based off of, that this could be based off of. Okay. Shalom on y'all, son. All right. The Kraken. I know you heard about this. The Kraken. Beneath the dark and churning sea, lurking in the deepest, most impenetrable waters, a giant monster called the Kraken awakes, and so the legend goes. Myths around the globe, some dating far back as 2,000 years, tells of terrifying, tentacle, tentacled beast capable of tearing a sailing vessel in half. Many believe the legend of the Kraken came from sailors encountering with a giant squid. An animal so seclusive is rarely even been photographed in the wild, let alone thoroughly researched by scientists. At more than 30 feet long and weighing more than 400 pounds, giant squid can grow large enough to tackle a sperm whale. So it's understandable why they come across them intimidating. However, the fact they are so to spot suggests that there are shy animals that keep themselves to have desire to interact with humans, hardly a creature to fear. Now, people would say, "Oh, this is not real," but I have looked at a lot of the stuff when I'm going to the sea, and they have saying that this large squid thing is real, and the people have seen it. You know, let me see. And which Greek god is a centaur? Well, well, a centaur is more for what you call a mythical character, right? I mean, a mythical character. Some of these characters are just not they really don't know where it's exactly what they base it off of, but it's not really a god. It's an aspect of something that they created that represents something. So I think they were saying the centaurs like they looked at it as a like a wicked evil being that lived in the mountains or something like that. So it's not some of the stuff. Like I said, mythology is different. Mythical has something stuff that's not real, then it has things that is real. Just like mythology, some stuff is real, some stuff is not real. So it's just based off. That's why that's why I separated that part from this part to show that these mythical characters don't really have a background to it that they say where it actually comes from. These mythical characters actually do. So the Kraken is representation of what they said the squid, the giant squid. The other ones are the mermaids are representation of the Dogons. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I separated that like that. Let me see. Majority of those names have something to do with what JC supposed to do. Yeah, I mean, let me see. Similar myth stories. All right, myth story similarities. There are over 100 different there are over 100 different world mythologies that we know of today. Among these are Greek, Roman, Norse, Etruscan, uh, Celtic, Slavic, Egyptian, Mesopotamian, Babylonian, Arabian, Arabian, Islamic, Hindu, Buddhist, Chinese, and many more myths. Anyone with the knowledge of more than one of these world mythologies will realize that there are some glaring similarities between them. And that's what I said. Once you understand mythology, and you start reading all these different things, even going to the biblical, even going to you can be able to see and say, okay, now I understand what this person say mythology. Now I understand what this person means by that. He's not trying to say it's fake. He's saying this story got some moral behind it. This story didn't happen 100% accurate, but it has a historical thing behind it. See, that's how when you look at stuff, you can tell and understand, and it keeps you in reality. See, mythology to me, even though it has a lot of stuff that's outside of reality actually keep you in reality because you understand what part of it is not part of reality, and it doesn't confuse you because when you take something that's not in reality and you make it reality, then you lose a touch of real reality, and that's the problem. All right. Similar myth stories like the flood. Okay. A flood myth is a narrative in which great flood, usually sent by a deity or deity, destroys civilization, often an account of divine retribution. In the Genesis mythology of Hebrew Bible, Yahweh God decides to flood the earth because of the death of sinful state of mankind that were with the great Noah ark. The Hindu myth of Manu, found in the um, Brahma, I can't remember, is similar to the Noah story, a bit less popular known today. A similar theme is seen in the Babylonian epic of Gilgamesh. This is what DOA was talking about, Mesopotamia flood stories, story of Greek mythology, and is in the Norse mythology. And just because they're similar does not mean it is fake. It means that it happens at a certain amount of time, but it might didn't happen when these people said it happened. So this is what because what happens is we go by these people doing these datings. We go there by these people trying to tell you when something happened when they don't really know. When I say people, I mean archaeologists, right? They are basically guessing off of doing data. We don't even they didn't most of these people didn't go and even go by the same calendars. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you really trying to make a date based off the calendar that we under. So what I'm saying is a major event could happen, or many of major events could happen, and these other cities, the Israelites ain't the only people who blamed it on their deity. So if a flood happened and a major flood happened to destroy some of Egypt, they blamed it on their deity. They could have blamed it on Mesopotamia. It could have happened. They could have blamed it on their deity. This is what this means. But again, what we have to understand also is invasion, conquering, and trading. It happens to this day. That's why in America we have so much different religions. We have so many because what happens is we let other countries in that has different cultures, and some people that ain't even part of their culture adapts to it. because we trade with some of these cultures, we let them in because we have treaties with them, because we conquer some of these places. When we conquer these places, we allow the people, the citizens, to come over here. So a lot of this happens to this day, and that's how a lot of things get mixed up, and a lot of people start following cultures that ain't even their culture for real. So that's how things like that happen. All right, Greek mythology used today here. Okay, Greek mythology used today here. I'm gonna open the panel up for a little bit when I finish all these tools because I want people to speak on what I said today. Greek mythology used today here. Amazon, the online retail store is named after the group of the strong warriors who were trained to combat archery and known as Amazons. Pandora, the jewelry brand, took its name from the first mortal woman in Greek mythology. Her name meant all gift. Hermes, he was the messenger of the Greek god, but today you will see this name for the company of the specialized luxurious goods, lifestyle accessories, and perfumes. Dove, the dove was a symbol of Aphrodite, and the goddess of beauty. Unliver owns a personal care brand by the same name. Apollo, the U.S. Apollo space program to take astronauts to the moon was named after Apollo based off the god's ability as an archer to hit his target. Okay. Nike, the U.S. sports apparel company, is named after the Greek goddess of victory. Cerberus, the Australian Royal Navy, has a training factory in Victoria named HMAS. Cerberus was after the multi-headed dog that guarded the gates of the underworld. Cereal, the generic name for our breakfast meal, is named after Ceres, a god of grain. Okay. Aquarius, the water barrier, comes from the Greek myth about the flood and Zeus poured the waters from the heavens out into the earth and washed away to destroy the wicked and evil men. Aries, the ram. Zeus placed a golden ram's image among the stars in honor of its heroism. Cancer, the crab, was a creature sent to the goddess Hera to destroy Hercules. Capricorn, the goat. In Greek mythology, Capricorn is god Pan, who has half man and half goat from the waist down and had goat's horns and ears. Gemini, the twins. The twins were Castor and Polydesis. Uh, Together, they were known as Dia Diosuri. Leo, the lion, linked to labors of Hercules in the first task, which was killed in Nemean lion. Okay. Libra, the scales, represent balance and justice, harmony, equilibrium, and Greek mythology. The goddess of justice is Themis, and she is pictured holding scales. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Pisces, the fish, named after Aphrodite and Eros, who were turned into fish by Zeus to help them escape danger. Sagittarius, the senator, named after the senator Turin, who taught men medicine and was kind to Jason of the Argonauts. Scorpio, the Scorpio was the creature created to sting and kill the hunter Orion. Taurus, the bull, named after the white bull Zeus, turned himself to help the affections of Europa. And Virgo, the maiden, named after goddess of innocence and purity. So these are all are what? The zodiac signs. Of course, birth signs, zodiac signs, whatever people want to say. And people don't even know this. This is nothing but Greek mythology that they basing it off of. Some people know, a lot of people don't. All right. Greek myth in the New Testament. Hellenistic Judaism had already reinterpreted many Gentile motives and set them within the biblical context from Jewish sources of Christians adopted adopted and adapted some mythical themes and creation of the world and the end of the paradoxal condition and the fall of humankind and assumption of human from by God, the saved Savior, the catalysm of the end of time and the final judgment. Christians reframe these motives within their new images of history and their doctrines concerning the nature of God, sin, and redemption. It is spread beyond Palestine and the Hellenistic world. Christianity continued to develop mythical themes important to the religious consciousness of converted people. Okay, Hellenistic Judaism. What is it? Was um, designation of Judaism in the Greek-speaking world, including those Jews who spoke Greek and adopted to some extent a Greek way of life. So we had different, all different. We had mystic, Judaism, Hellenistic. It was all different. The Pharisees. There's all different type of things going on that people got things from. Like mysticism comes from Jewish mysticism. What I'm saying, it's a base off of that. Christianity is based off of that. Occultism is based off of that. That's why a lot of these things are similar in things. Okay. Hold on. All right. Number 13, right? Because we're talking about the Last Supper when there's what 12 disciples and one person, what they call Jesus. We're gonna show the mythology in this number, right? And how this is dissimilar to another 13 having supper. Okay, could the unlucky number and Jesus' Last Supper origin be from the Norse mythology of the 13 gods' Last Supper, as stated above? The fear of the number 13 is deeply rooted in humans due to traditions as well as biblical association. Judas, who betrayed Jesus ultimately and led to his subsequent death, was believed to have been the 13th apostle. Norse myth 13 gods. The unlucky nature of number 13 originated with a Norse myth about 12 gods having a dinner at the party on Valhalla. The trickster god Loki, who was not invited, arrived on the 13th guest and arranged a whore to shoot Balder with a mistletoe tip arrow. Okay, so we're saying it's a similar story. You had 13. You had one special person, and then you had one deceiver that came and wanted to kill this person. And this one story, the difference is in that myth, one was killed at the supper. The other story, one was supposed to be killed later on by the deceiver. Okay, these are mythical stories based off of numbers. That's why I tell people when we talk about Jesus, I say Jesus is the sun. He's based off part of him is based off the sun, right? Sunday, day of the sun. Christmas, the unconquered sun, winter solstice. Easter, Resurrection Sunday, the day of the sun resurrection. Okay, Jesus in the middle, the sun, the 12 zodiac signs. So you got to really understand what they're pushing because if you understand mythology, you understand how they work things. A lot of characters were based off of planets, based off of nature, based off of emotion, based off of other things too. So actions. So you had mythology wasn't just nature. It was all of that. Everything they thought that happened, they put something around it and made a story around it to preserve it. Okay. Adam and Eve story. So the answer are Adam and Eve story mythical? Yes and no. No, if by myth you mean a worthless fiction. No, so it's not a worthless fiction, okay? A flimsy fairy tale. No. A useless fantasy. No, it's not. Yes, if you mean a story that teaches universal truths in a way that touches our heart in a super yes, when we are talking about phrase of myth that really happened. This then is astonishing gift that the Hebrew Christian scriptures offer us. They give us a bridge from a wonderful but non historical myth of pagan religion and ancient civilizations into real stories of real people that took place in history at a real place and time, but which work on us like myths. Okay, so when they saying you reading this Bible, you got to understand the myth part. You got to understand why they created this myth part. You got to understand how cultures thought things happened. That's why I got a whole show about the firmament. How the firmament they thought it was a firmament because why? They didn't understand where water was coming from the sky. They didn't understand where rain come from. It's that simple because they was a people who didn't understand this. We understand now because we have been taught, and it's so simple to us now that rain happens this way. You see what I'm saying? But they're released from the clouds. But at this time, you got to realize the time that people didn't know. That's why in the book they thought that God opened the sky and rain fell because they didn't understand how rain set up there. You see what I'm saying? So they believe it was a firmament. But we understand that that's not how it goes now. But some people read this and take us people from 6,000 years ago and still try to tell me or tell us that this is science. That's not science. That is a culture of people who didn't understand what's going on, so they had to get their own way of understanding, and that's how they did it. They did it in the myth stories. But when we got to understanding, we don't use that no more. So people that saying the firmament is still a big solid firmament around us, they are just stuck in a religious form and believe everything is literal. Because rain don't happen that way. The only reason they thought that is because they didn't understand how rain came, how things fell from the sky, how rain, how when God said He separated waters, how they were separated. And if you understand the seven atmospheres, if you understand how rain works with the clouds and how it's formed, then you understand that they didn't know nothing about this at the time. Not that they were dumb, they just didn't know. A lot of people don't know that now, and then we had the technology to know. You go around asking people how is rain created, they can't really tell you. Okay, all right. I got a two part. This is the last. This is the first part of myth. I got a second part of angelology. Right. So this is although today we have evidence of soul and survival of some type of consciousness after death, most people still believe in some sort of eternal existence. Many scientists, philosophers, and New Age adherents have each attempted in his or her own way to prove the essence of a person's survival physical death. Although people may not believe in the Greek pantheons of gods and goddesses and the essence of Greek belief in a soul or so something or sort of continued existence beyond death continues to this day. Okay, so a lot of people are pushing Greek mythology. When these Egyptians talk about Egypt and they talk about Horus and Set, that is Greek words. We all are speaking in a mythical way of other people. They America is so mixed up with Egyptian, Greek, Israelite, all this stuff. They mixed in with all these mythologies. They mix it up so much. Because when you go to the days, you got you got Norse days mixed with Roman and Greek and all this different stuff, man. So I'm gonna get out here. I'm about to go to angelology, right? So let me get out here. I'm gonna go show angelology. Let me see if I can tell where that. Let me go to this one. Let me see if I had to share this again. I might have to share it again. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go to angelology. I'm gonna go to where a lot of people and a lot of how this angel being flying around with wings, how this thing was made about or come about. All right. Hold on. Let me see if I hope I can do it. Let me see. Okay. So there you go. There you go. All right. Might take a minute. Hold on. Give me a second. I got a little bit of demonology in there just to show y'all where they getting this stuff from. Because in the Old Testament, demons were actually idols. They were actually false gods. And then you know what? But once it started getting into the Christian and Greek form, it started becoming a evil being or this type of being. You know what I'm saying? This is how they worked. Why is that popping up? Okay. All right. Okay, it's about to come. I might gotta save it again. I gotta share it again. Yeah. Yeah, D Ray be back. He had to go somewhere. So thank y'all for joining. I'm not gonna make it long because I want y'all to go back and really study this. Because like I said, when you study this and understand this, it's gonna give you a better understanding in all cultures, in all way of literature. Okay. All right, here it goes. About to pop up. Just wait for it to pop up. Let me see if I can read some stuff. Majority of these names are hunting, having been raised and educated on Apollo and his wife. Charon was the son of the god Kronos and sea milk. Yeah, see, when we go into the Greek mythology too, I learned that it's like two, three different type of myth stories as one. They don't they make a lot of different ones, and then you have people that argue over this stuff because they're translating this stuff. So you might the authors are the ones that kind of like making them kind of a little different too. So there's a lot of things that coming with trying to understand ancient culture too, because you with one thing you learn when you're studying ancient culture, when you're studying things, when translations and stuff happen, and the way history works, archaeology works, anthropology works. Nobody is really everybody's not agreeing on the same. So when you study, you got to go to both sides. You got to say what this people are saying, what these people are saying. And these people, both of them might have certain truths that you can pull out, or you can eliminate one and say, okay, this person, I think they know what they're saying more. They got more proof of evidence. So this is how you do it, because it's never a clear answer when it comes to these things like anthropology and archaeology and reading literature and translations. That's why they have so much different things. Okay, so here we go. Oh man, I ain't sure. Oh yeah, it's sure. Okay, here you go, right here. All right. Mad scientist, aka Gabriel Hamalakia. Okay. Mythical winged beings, taking literal angel beings. So let's go put it from seraphim, archangel, and cherubim, right? Um, come on, come on, load up for me. All right. Hold on. Let's see if I can put it full screen. Oh man, why is it doing this? Come on. It's gonna take angelology. Like I said, I got a definition of demonology on how that winged beings are an ancient mythology creature that when they got to certain places, they took it, they tried to create it, and people took it literal, right? And this where they start having practice, they start having each scholarship been called angelology. Go to this one. I don't know why it ain't showing that one. All right, well, I'm gonna read that part until it come up. All right, there you go. Angelology, theological dogma or speculation concerning angels. Gnostic angelology influenced pseudo Dionysus. Dionysus. All right, man, what is it doing this? All right, influencer of angelology. Uh, Hero Chia is a pseudo Dionysian work on and angelology written in Greek and dated to AD the 5th century, exerted great influence on scholasticism and treats at great length the heresies of angels. So this is what they saying. This book right here, and by this author, uh, influenced a lot of this angelology stuff. I even say things like Enoch too. Enoch, things like this. Even the Book of Adam and Eve, even though it's more later on, people do read these things. They'll never tell you they read it, but people read these things, and that's where they getting this. Devil was in heaven, and he didn't like Adam, and then he got to fight with Michael, and he got kicked down, and a lot of that stuff is coming out these type of books, right? All right. What is a mythical being? Okay, we already. Hold on. Man, I wish I could get a big screen. Oh, here it go. All right. Hold on. Bear with me. Bear with me. All right. So let me skip that, that. Come on. Come on. Let me go. Let me go. Trying to stop me. All right, there it go. Come on. One more. Move one more over. I don't know why this thing lagging so much. All right, let's see. It ain't doing it. Well, like I said, this is a influence of it. All right, what is a mythical being? Here you go. Mythical creatures are supernatural animals, beings, hybrids that don't exist in real life. Mythical creatures originate from ancient mythology, stories, and folklore, and are often represented in books, TV, film, and games. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I said they have mythical characters. It's just not real. Okay, they just made these things. So we have the red cap, the kale pie, the gargoyle, the black anise, the black dog. I mean, it's black dog, but I don't think that's the same. But Minotaur, the typhon, and I don't know what that is. Oh, that's the half human, half spider type of being. Okay, demon and angelology. That's what I wanted to get to. Demons and demonology, angels and angelology. Oh, what happened to? Oh, let me make sure because it looks like. Uh-oh, it ain't showing. What happened? What happened, DOA? I don't see nothing. Okay, it's up. All right, never mind. All right. Demon and angelology. Demons and demonology, angels and angelology origin comes from Greek mythology. Christianity also teaches ancient nation mythology mixed in Cambridge University, press literaturely. Um, Demonology is the science of demons and their actions. The word daemon is Greek and simply means a supernatural being or a lesser divinity. In classical ancient Greece, daemons were perceived as guardian spirits, as either good or evil spirits who try to influence the human psyche. However, in Christian theology, demons were always considered evil, whereas angels were thought to serve as good messengers of agents. And that's why I said what happened is when we came into in America, they mixed in so much different things, right? So we are expected when we can evil or good in a certain way. You had the Israelites who looked at it a certain way. You had the Egyptians that looked at it a certain way. They had these type of beings. They had these type of things. So demons in the Greek mythology was not really a bad thing because they wasn't even called demons. But when, like I said, when you go to the Old Testament, Testament, when they used the word demon there, it was more like idols and false gods. So we looked at anybody that didn't worship God and worship the idol or false gods. Some people just call them idol worshippers, but they were demon worshippers. You see what I'm saying? That's how we looked at them. They were demons. They were demon worshippers. You see what I'm saying? That's how we looked at them. Then when Christians came, they made a whole being out of this based off of ancient evil because everything because Christians are the real people who really took everything and made everything evil that they didn't understand. A Christian don't understand it is evil. So anything they looked at, wing beans, this thing look evil. This thing had horns is evil. This thing was a half human, half goat is evil. This is what Christianity did to a lot of that. So a lot of us grew up under what Christianity. So we looked at it like that, but that's not how it was taught at first. And back in some days, in some ancient cities, it was actually a disease. So they didn't just look at like, oh, because a rats was around, they used and we got sick off the rats. They looked at it like it was a demonic thing, an entity that happened. Okay, it's like right now when you go into a commercial and they show them commercials with the bacteria and it's talking and it's on the human body and stuff. That's mythology. It's the same thing. They took a bacteria, they took a disease, and they made it into a character to make it more simple for you to understand what it means. So when they use a chemical to destroy it or kill it, it shows you what it does for it and what it does to it. Okay, because you do have beings living on you. You have 12 million living beings on a human body. Okay. Oh, I went down. I don't know why I pushed down. Mythical winged beings being seraphim. An angelological being regarded to tradition Christian angelology as belonging to the highest order of the ninefold sexual heresy associated with light, adore, and purity. See, now people skip that part. They'll say, oh, see, there's a seraphim and this and this and that, but they don't hear associated with light and purity. See, but you hear that in Greek mythology, if you hear that in Egyptian mythology, if you hear that in Mesopotamian mythology, and Norse mythology, and Roman mythology, you will understand that yes, this is based off light and purity. It's a mythical being. But when it comes to the Bible, people don't understand it. They want to say, "Oh, this seraphim was real," but they don't understand it. See, this is the problem that we have. They think everybody else had mythology but us, and that's not true. Seraphim in the Bible, seraphim stood above him, each having six wings. With two he covered his face, and with two he covered his feet, and with two he flew. Okay, I love this picture right here. This is a nice looking picture. Cherubim. See, that's when I started going to this. I didn't even know about all this. I ain't even lie. I thought when people talk about angel, it's just angel. I didn't know they had all these different mythical characters as angelic beings. They had ranking. That's what through this angelology. Conclusion: mysterious as they are, angels in the Bible are often described with human qualities, even speaking like people and bearing human sounding names. Also, they did not appear to have wings. The cherubim are equally mysterious, said to have wild human and animal like features, and yes, these beings have wings. Now, if you was to see this being in Greek mythology or any other mythology, you would know that this is not a real being. You would know this is a mythical being. But again, because it's based off, and they try to base it off of the Bible, that you would think it's literal. And this is the problem a lot of us have with this. Because if you think this is literal, then you're losing touch of reality because you ain't never seen no being like this. Okay, and you understand if you've seen it anywhere else, you understand it's a mythical character. This thing has a bull on the side of his head and a lion on the other side, has wings, and it flies around. I'm just saying. All right. Cherubim in the Garden of Eden. So he drove the man out, and at the east of the Garden of Eden, he stationed the cherubim and the flaming sword, which turned every direction to guard the way of the tree of life. Okay. Now people would say, "Oh, see, he was the gardener," but I already told you the Adam and Eve story was a mythology story. It was a mythology story. Mythology. This mythology story, Adam and Eve, is based off of things, certain things. What how sin was created. Okay. How they believe man was created, and they created a whole story of it, and morals to it. That when God tell you to do something, you listen. And if you don't, there's a punishment with it. These are morals that you take from. If you don't take these morals out of that story, and you're arguing over the snake talk, and you're arguing over the Adam and Eve real, you're arguing over that you're trying to prove that with the garden that they say is actually in Mesopotamia. That's another story we could talk about. But the garden and all this other stuff, if you ain't take the moral of the story, because the moral of the story is always in the Bible, is always worshiping God through obedience and everything. Okay? Yeah, especially the demons of Egypt were idols. Yes, they were. It said when you read the Old Testament, it tells you who the demons were when they expanded. But see, a lot of people that they want to believe, man, because they want to believe. They don't want to accept the truth. They don't want to study history. They don't want to study culture. How you going to understand the people you don't know their culture? How you going to understand the people you don't know their nationality, their literature, the way they thought? You see what I'm saying? The time they were in. How you going to understand it? How you just going to read their book? And this is the problem that the people who translated the book had because they didn't understand them. They believed in multiple gods. They believed in all this different stuff, and then they read these people book and think they go translate it when they didn't have the same culture. That's what happens when you do that. What ancient winged being did they come from? Mythical beings to angels, mythical winged beings also existed in ancient times to a modern times, like Cupid, because people don't know Cupid is actually a cherubim. Cupid is considered a baby cherubim, okay, a mythical character, but it's a cherubim and as a biblical form, but it's also like I showed you earlier in my other part that is close to Aphrodite that had this. I mean, Arios. I think it's Arios. They had the same attribute, which is love. They're all both connected because they're both based off of love. The white horse, the pale horse, the Grim Reaper, the Thanatos in Greek mythology is all based off of death. It's all death. Okay, so that's how you need to look at stuff. Don't base it off the character. Base it off of what is it based off of. They all based off of death. Cherubim and Eros of Greek mythology is based off of love, but it's a cherubim in biblical form. So Cupid would be a cherubim. Modern times like Cupid, a cherubim. Cherubim, the word most likely derived from Akkadian karubu, caribou, to bless. The cherubim are often coupled with other beings known as seraphim, who guarded and protected the courts of the thrones of the gods. Over time, but cherubim and seraphim became denoted as angels from the Latin angelos, angelos, messenger. So did you hear what I said? If you go into history, they tell you, uh, I forgot what part of Mesopotamia, what they call Iraq. They're the history. Some people, scholars would say that's where Eden was at. I'm not saying it was there. I'm just saying that's what some scholars say. But then when you go into the word that this word cherubim comes from, it comes from a Akkadian word, which means blessed. So to say that these, because our Shemitic brothers were in Mesopotamia, they was in these places. So we got to understand that Israel is not the only Semitic people. It was we all it was all different tribes or nations of Semitic people other than Israelites that was under God that came from Shem. You see what I'm saying? We have to understand that when I talked about the Shashu people going to Egypt, they were Semitic, the Hyksos. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about these people going into there, actually it was two different exodus when it talks about them people in history and form leaving from Egypt. Some people say them two exodus actually was combined together to make the one exodus into Canaan, because both of them actually went into Canaan. Okay, so all right, Ezekiel's vision. Then I looked, and behold, an affirmant that was above the head of the cherubims and appeared over them as it were sapphire stone, as the appearance of the likeness of a throne. And he spake unto the man clothed with linen, and said, Go in between the wheels, even under the cherubim, and fill thy hand with coals of fire from between the cherubims, and scatter them over the city. And he went in my sight. Now the cherubim stood on the right side of the house when the man went in, and the cloud filled the inner court. Okay. Now this is when Alan was talking about, is when he talked about when they have separate stuff like metaphors. When these things, this is based off of visions. It's not based off something he reality seen. It specifically says Ezekiel vision. Okay, so we take, then what I'm saying is we take a lot of this stuff literal, and then when somebody comes and tell us, well, explain this to us, prove this to us, you can't do it because you're taking something that ain't literal and trying to make it literal. That's why when we go to the talking animals, and I was talking about that. There's nowhere you can prove. You can say animals talk back in the day, but if you go to a person who, or you tell that to a kid, you tell it to a teenager, and this generation, they gonna say, "Well, what animal talked? What animal actually you could conversate with, and they can talk right back to you?" Now, I ain't talking about no copying like a parrot. I'm talking about talk conversation with you. They can tell you don't listen to God and tell you don't eat this apple. No animal has done that. There's no historical form of that or no scientific form of that. So that's what I mean. When you claim something, you got to prove it. Belief is just belief. Belief means you just believe something. You can't prove it, and that's why I don't. And that's when I leave you alone, because then you telling me I don't have to study nothing. I could just believe, and I don't deal with that. Okay. Ancient winged beings, throne angels. So I'm just going now. I'm gonna start naming the angels, because in angelology they actually kind of rank these angels to tell you what these angels did and what form and how the ranking they is, and how who did this, and who actually, what angels actually is over top of these angels. They actually got this in the angelology. Throne angel. Throne's appearance is perhaps the most bizarre of the first grouping. They are said to look like great glowing wheels covered with many eyes. They serve the god chariot and dispense his judgment in order to carry out desire for us. That's a beautiful thing, though. Right? I mean, it looks beautiful. All right. The thrones, ancient Greek and the Colossians 1-6, according to the New Testament, these high sexual beings are among those orders in the Christ service. They are carriers of the throne of God, hence the name. So a lot of people who's kind of pushing these things, the angels and this stuff, I know they kind of mention this stuff in the Old Testament, but when they got to the New Testament, these people are trying to push it as a literal. So when you're trying to push it as literal, guess what you're doing? You're pushing Christianity. Sorry to tell you that. Okay. According to Matthew Bunson, the corresponding order of angels in Judaism is called Abulum, Erolum, but this opinion is far from a rival. The Hebrew word Erulum is usually not translated thrones, but rather variant ones, heroes, warriors. The function ascribed to Erulum in Isaiah 33 and 7 and the Jewish folklore is not consonant with the lore surrounding the thrones. Now you see how when they talk about the New Testament, how he spoke on it as they were trying to speak on angels as literal. But when they go into the Old Testament, it's telling you that they did it as lore, okay, folklore. Thrones are sometimes equated with orphanum, wheels of Galilean. Since the throne of God is usually depicted in being moved by wheels as a division of Daniel 7:9 Old Testament, however, the throne, thronos, are this a distinct form ancestral beings, spiritual beings usually portrayed as adoring elder men in Christian sculpture. The cherubim carry and moving the orphanum, the throne of God. They are said to be great wheels covered in eyes. I beheld to the throne were cast down, and the ancient of days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pearl wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and the wheels is as a burning fire. Okay. Daniel 7. Let me read this part in the picture. I beheld, till the throne were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like the pearl wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. Okay, so this is talking about a vision that he's seen in a trance, which is basically metaphor, folklore. It's not real. Okay, I'm gonna say it's not real. All right, so we argue. A lot of people argue over this Daniel and try to make it something. And that's why when I hear a lot of people try to do Daniel, I think a lot of people just be confused. And I've never heard nobody really break down Daniel that much. It is some symbolism of talking about other things that really did happen. So I'm not saying Daniel is straight fake, but what I'm saying is we got to understand the mythology. We got to understand the metaphors. We got to understand the symbolism. We got to understand when it's science. We got to understand when it's history. We got to understand when these things are here. We do not take everything literal. That's what you don't do. Because once you take something literal, you have to prove it. When you take something as a fact, you have to prove it. When you want to take it as a belief, that's no proof. That's what that means. All right. Throne angels' origin, Judaism. Throne angels play a key role in the Merkabah and heavenly chariots of Jewish mysticism. Now that's what I was talking about mysticism. When Jewish mysticism came, that's when Jewish mysticism is one of the origins of angels and speaking of heaven, a type of heaven, hell, that not heaven and hell, but the way they talk about the way Christians is mixture of Jewish mysticism. Okay, when you go into the Greeks went into Egypt and they misinterpreted a lot of stuff that Egypt did, and they made secret societies of that. That's why the Greeks mixed with Jewish mysticism created things like occultism and secret societies that Masons actually took, and that's why they think Masons think they got a lot of the knowledge from Egypt, but they actually got it from Greek. But Greek mysticism, occultism, that they actually misinterpreted from Egypt. If that makes sense to y'all. So Masons and all these people are teaching in a Greek way, just like Egyptians are teaching in a Greek way, because they don't really know the ancient teachers of Tamari or Tasseti. Okay, because I tell people when you say Kemet, you don't even know what you're talking about. 'Cause that's a Greek word, but when we talk, it was the upper and lower Egypt, and then you had the red land and the black land. Okay, I used to study Egypt. I was studying Egypt a long time, so I'm not saying I'm an expert in it, but I understand it. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of the Satanism is occultism. Is occultism mixed with mysticism. You see what I'm saying? It's mixed with all these different things, esotericism. So I studied all these stuff, so I understand when I hear people talking, I know exactly where you're getting this stuff from. Okay, Judaism. The only angels play a key role in the Merkabah and the heavenly chariot of Jewish mysticism. They are pictures supporting and sustaining God's throne as the wheels of the chariot. The significance of throne angels in the divine plan is to emphasize in Jewish mysticism books like the Zohar, which frequently associate them with the um, Sephiroth and 10 divine characteristics through which call interacts with the creation. Jewish mysticism is an umbrella term which covers a range of theories regarding the Godhead and well as practices and beliefs, extending beyond the requirement of standard Judaism. The term Kabbalah refers to a particular variety of Jewish mysticism which first emerged in 12th century CE in Providence and Catalonia. Okay. Mythical winged beings, dimensions. And this is what I'm talking about. This when they start breaking stuff down into ranking. Okay. Exists in a state of transition between the ancestral and human world. They are considered heavenly governors, attempting to strike a balance between matter and spirit, good and bad. Think of dominations as middle management. They receive orders from seraphim and cherubims and dish out duties to the worker bee. angels of the lower orders. Their main purpose is to make sure the cosmos remain in order and sending down power to heads of the government and other authority figures. Zedekiel, sometimes called Hashmal, is the chief of the order. So this again is mythology, how they're trying to say things work. They believe that the governments and everything are being controlled by these certain angelical beings. Okay, and these angelical beings are getting their order from the seraphims and the cherubims are getting their order from this, and it goes all the way to the Godhead. Okay, examples: dominion angels at work. The Bible describes a famous example in the story of how domination angels destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, two ancient cities that were full of sin. Dominations carried a God given mission that may seem harsh, so it's a completely uh, a lib- destroy the city. I can't. My tongue is messing up right now. To destroy the city, but before doing so, they warned the only faithful people living there, Lot and his family, about what was going to happen, and they helped these righteous people escape. So they're saying that the dominations or the dominion, okay, angels are the ones that went to Sodom and Gomorrah. That they were scared that they was going to get raped and all this stuff. This, everybody knows the Sodom and Gomorrah story. So this is what they basing these angels off of. Said these the angels that did that, and these were they called. This is angelology. So people saying, well, how do you do? This is angelology, meaning they made a study of how they broke down angels. So it's actually a scholarship that they actually break that they actually study angels. And I think it's kind of, I don't know, but domination angel. I didn't spell that. Okay, so don't think in the different religious books, the the Testament of Adam describes the men as rulers over earth kingdoms who decide the outcome of the world wars and battles. They are angels riding on a red horse. Enoch states that when Enoch is taken to the seventh heaven, he sees an exceptional great light and the fiery armies of the great archangel and the incorporeal forces and the dominions and the origins of the authorities, the cherubim and the seraphim, and many add thrones. The Ethiopic translation of Enoch refers to angels as dominions and apocalypse of Zephaniah sees angels who are called lords. When he is taken to the fifth heaven in a Randolph Stanner three-tier structure of angelic realm, many equal the demands uh, to Saint Augustine. Dominions. Saint Augustine agreed with Saint Paul that there exist seats, thrones, dominions, principles, and powers in the heavens, but he did not know specifically what they were a difference between them. According to Agrippa, um, the men's and associate with the air element. They help humans overcome enemies in the Kabbalistic lore. The men's, along with the powers of virtues, formed the four triple cities of the intangible heresies. They are one of the ruling angelic orders of Mercury. Mercy, the four Sephirah, and the tree of life. The men's are sometimes equated with Hash Hashmalim. So they're talking about Kabbalah. They're talking about all type of. You're talking about mythology. Talking about how it's connected to mercy. See, a lot of the apocalypse. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? Like this mythology. It's mythology, and they using in an angelic form, in an ancestral form now. Winged beings being virtual. Virtue, shaped like sparks of light. Virtue are in charge of maintaining the natural world, and they inspire living things in areas such as science. They also take orders from the angels above and convert them into miracles for the deserving. When they make themselves known to us, their earthly forms, they are magicians, artists, healers, and scientists who work with the power of love as well as physics. The two angels of the ascension of Jesus are believed to been virtue. So, so the two angels, I guess, to move the stone and all that stuff that was in the tomb of Jesus is supposed to be, it's supposed to be these type of angels. Okay, so that's what they are saying. They're supposed to be these types. These people, these angels right here, help create musicians, artists, healers, science, all this type of stuff. You know what I mean? It's just mythology. Okay, it's mythology. It's part of mythology. It's given uh human attributes and human things that we created and saying we only knew of this because a deity gave it to us. Okay, like any other nation or ancient cities did. Virtues are a fifth angelic choir. Their name means unyielding courage, man's own quality, and by extension, skill, physical courage. The Bible manifestations of God are always particular. Just reread chapter 19 of the book of Exodus when Yahweh is preparing to give the tables of flashing the clouds and finally an earthquake around Mount Zion. So the virtues were the people that did that too. That's what they saying through angelology. Okay, so okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I had 72 slides, so bear with me. Mouth getting dry. It's a lot of reading, and these words are little, really little. It might look kind of big to y'all. They little to me. Uh, the real intervention and these mechanisms remain exceptional between the virtue angels are the first angels of miracles. These miracles must be within their reach and not modified in the natural laws in force. A prodigy preserved for God alone. An angel will not be able to perform any impossible acts of nature. A resurrection, for example, on the other hand, the virtues by commanding the winds can calm a storm, put it into a drought by making the rain fall. According to pseudo Dionysus, the the arrow the Areopagites, the Areopagites name of holy virtue indicates a certain powerful and strong courage that flows from all their energy similar to God, and these grows in the fullness of power towards assimilation with God without ever living in the divine life by means of their own forget that one, man. I'm tired. All right. Lord. All right, the ancestral virtues. The recent upsurge of the interest of astronomers of inquiry and brought into the orbit renewed speculation about angels, their origin, reality, meaning nature. The paper is an example of opening the door unto the arcana of knowledge, or at least one aspect of the knowledge, the ancestral virtues, about which comparatively little seems to be generally known to be the subject of published discourse. The ordinary dictionary meaning a moral rectitude and practice, as in assume a virtue is you have to is not or its virtue or not birth that makes us noble. To the student of Christian lore, the word has in addition a symbolic and personalized meaning as when one speaks to the cardinal virtues prudence, justice, fortitude, temperance, or the theological virtues, faith, hope, charity to Elizabethans. There was a sense of spiritual power and blessedness of the world, as Luke 6:19. For there went virtue out of the him and healed them all. Here, whoever in this paper and term would be restricted to apply order in the choir of ancestral heresy. I'm not reading the rest of that. That is bull anyway. Mythical being powers. All right, we got powers, and their ancestral forms. Powers appear like brightly colored, hazy firms. Powers are border patrol agents between heaven and earth. They are the angels of birth and death. Some believe that they also bring life and death. preside over demons who wish to overthrow the world, while others, namely St. Paul, through the powers themselves, were the evil ones. In any case, powers are a group of experts who serve as advisors. Again, they're saying that humans, even though we got the power of the Most High, could not do nothing without these beings, these created mythical beings that supposed to have gave us this stuff, and we didn't think of it on our own. Okay, these are powers. The powers are angelic representations of lawful authority. Ancestral rules and acquired knowledge is the choir angels at the preeminence of the order of angels are given the duty of appointing tasks which are to be done by the virtues and powers. Powers are warrior angels against evil spirits defending the cosmos and humans. They are known to potentates. These spirits hold the responsibility of maintaining the order between heaven and earth. They are the major line of defense and battle during heavenly warfare. Powers maintain the order around planet Earth and protect from being overthrown by Satan and other oversee the distribution of power among humankind and hence their name. Alright. Principles, the third group of angels and the one ordinary groups will have the most interaction with. First of the group are the principalities. These angelic beings are shaped like rays of light, just like a principal in school. And principalities oversee everything. They guide our entire world, nations, cities, towns. What more, they are in charge of religion and politics. As if their plate isn't full enough, they are also in charge of managing the earthly duties of angels below them. Alright, I already know they are. Alright. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withhold the 21 days, and behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help, for I had been left alone there with the kings of Persia. In the scripture, an angel of the Lord visits Daniel. This is not an angel Gabriel that visited Daniel in chapter 8 and 9. As Daniel already knew Gabriel and referred to him by name, the angel tells Daniel that the prince fallen angel over Persia withstood him for 21 days. Then the angel states that the prince Michael came to help him. Okay. These are, I get into the end. All right. That's the archangel. These, along with the angels, are guardians of the people in all things physical. But don't call them to help you personally. Archangels respond best with dealing with matters involving all humankind, such as justice. The order is most commonly known because some are missing in the name in the Bible. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, archangels engage in spiritual warfare by fighting against demons or being messages from God, such as Gabrielle came to Mary to tell her she was going to be the mother of Jesus, and believed there are only several archangels. So again, these are mythical characters that they believe that these how things work and these how things happen. Okay, and they brought these things to us that we didn't think of it ourselves. And when something happens, attributes, emotions, science, history, they was given to these by these angelic beings. This is what angelology is teaching. Michael, Archangel Michael is an archangel of Judaism, Christian, Islam, and Baha'i faith. The earliest surviving mention of his names are the 3rd and 2nd century BC Jewish work, often but not always apocalyptic, where he is the chief of the angels and archangels and responsible for the care of Israel. Christian adopted nearly all the Jewish traditions concerning him, and he is mentioned especially in Revelation 12:7, 12 chapter 7 to 12 verse, where he does battle with Satan. Okay, so this is what I'm saying when it comes to the Christians took a lot of they mixed a lot of Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Jewish mysticism. All this stuff is mixed up in Christianity. So this battle of Michael, it doesn't really explain a lot, but this is this revelation who's supposed to be a vision of some guy named John, or Patos, or some other John. I don't know what John's supposed to be, but these are all mythology that they took from a lot of other different places and created their own mythology in Christian form. Okay, the development of the cult of Saint Michael. The Europe and the cult of Saint Michael developed from 5th to 6th centuries, first in Italy under the influence of Lombard people, then in France, Germany, and finally throughout the continent. And places of worship are often located in the high ground. This is the case of Mount Saint Michael, where the Archangel Saint Michael is celestial saint. The three roles of the Archangel Michael in Christian and Catholic tradition. Saint Michael has different roles. He is an embodiment of forces of good and evil. Those are of evil, as mythology. He leads to the dead. See, if when you start hearing this, you will understand. You understand. He intervenes in the win of souls to defend them against demons. Mythology. If the first role of defender against forces evil appears, especially in the apocalypse in the chapter, and then chapter the two other roles in Saint Michael appear later in medieval iconography. These representations are especially inspired by apocalyptic biblical writings, which have been retained by canons of the church. All right, now we're going to this last part of the end. Now we're going to the oldest forms of what they found. Some of the oldest forms of what they found of beings or wings, which we understand mythology or what they call deities. Ancient beings, uh, Lama, initially depicted as a goddess of Sumerian times, when it is called Lama, Lama, it was later depicted as Assyrian times as a hybrid of a human, bird, or either a bull or lion, specifically having a human head, the body of a bull or lion, a bird wings under the name Lamasu. In some writings, it is portrayed to represent a goddess. A less frequently used name is Shidu, cuneiform, Akkadian, Sumerian, which refers to a male counterpart of a Lamasu. Lamasu represents the zodiac's current styles of constellations. So when you see something that says representation of something, what? Again, from the other show that I showed you, mythology. That's what it means. It means a representation of something to show you something that is not real, but it's based off something that's real. Okay, that's part of mythology. And a lot of people don't understand Mesopotamia was split in forms. So Mesopotamia was Babylonian, you had the Assyrians, you had the Chaldeans, you had all these different people that was under the Mesopotamian place. And when they split up, they started taking over each other. So that's where you start getting the Assyrian kingdom, the Babylonian kingdom, and the Chaldeans mixed with the Assyrians, and mixed with the Chaldeans, and then became the Chaldean Babylonians. And then when they broke back off, it became the new Babylonians, which meant the new Babylon, stuff like that. So a lot of that stuff was going on. But that's why they kept the same type of culture. So when you look at Babylon, Assyria, Chaldean, they kind of got the same looking gods, deities, just like Canaan. All right. I'm breaking up. Wait a minute. Should be better now because ancient winged being Nut. The kneeling woman is a goddess with protected outspread wings. On her head are cow horns and sun discs, which are elements that could have been worn by various goddesses. Nut, the goddess of the sky, is often depicted with outstretched wings, but similar representation is also known for the goddess Isis. The piece features several small holes that were made for either sewing the pieces onto a mummy's wrapping or for incorporating them into beaded nets, which were placed on top of the wrapped mummy. Okay, you try to sound better, right? All right. This nude winged goddess wears a complex headdress featuring a lunar crescent, a solar disk, and a tall plumes. The cobras on her head, upper arms wear. Hold on. The cobras on her upper arms wear the same type of headgear. Her identity is unknown, but this um, pectoral suggests that she is the lunar counterpart to the lioness deity seen elsewhere in this case. They put it under Nubian artist Sedan Winged Goddess. If you want to look that up, okay. The Sphinx. The Sphinx was a female monster with the body of a lion, the head of a beast. The head and breast of a woman, eagle wings, and according to some, a serpent tail. She was sent to by the gods to plague the town of Thebes and punishment for some ancient crime, preying on its youth and devouring all who failed to solve her riddle. The regent of the Thebes, King Creon, offered the throne to the one who destroyed her, Edo, Oedipus. Oedipus, okay, took up the challenge, and when he solved the Sphinx riddle, she cast herself off the mountainside of despair. Sphinx were very popular in ancient art. They were employed as sculptural, gave a stela upon the tombs of men who died in the youth. And archaic vase painting, they often appear amongst a procession of animals and fabulous creatures such as lioness and bird-bodied sirens. Sphinx, Athenian, red figure. Okay, so this is not no, this is not the Sphinx from no from this is the Athenian Sphinx. It's not the Sphinx from Egypt. Okay, but this show how cities and nations can influence other people. Thank you, Vika. Nike, the winged goddess of victory. That's why they picked. That's why the company picked Nike. Nike is a very specific type of figure. It is called a core. This means young girl in Greek. Figures in core statues usually stand up straight with one foot slightly in front of the other. Sometimes they are shown with arms held close to their sides. Other times, as with the Nike figures, they appear with one arm extended and the other lowered, pulling their skirts to one side. Nike was a winged goddess of victory. Athletes who wanted to win worshiped her. Even today, she has some significance to athletes. If you look carefully, you may notice a striking similarity between Nike's wing and the famous swish symbol found on sneakers. So this is why this we're trying to say these people took stuff like these creatures of mythology and they put it in everyday life. So a lot of these athletes, what's the biggest shoe that you can connect to as an athlete? Nike. That's the biggest seller shoe that you can connect. When you connect to Nike, you're popular. Ain't nobody buying no Stephon Curry, Spalding or whatever he connected to. Ain't nobody buying no. Hold on. Ain't nobody buying no whoever got Reeboks. Ain't nobody buying that stuff. Is what I'm saying. Most of the athletes who make it in the shoe game is under Nike, and that's it right there. All right. And I'm gonna see. I'm not gonna be on too long. If DOA come back, he wants. But if anybody want to come on or anybody want to speak or ask any questions, forever hold your peace. You can ask now. Stop. Okay, stop it. Stop. All right. I don't know really how to put the link in the jump, but the link is already in there from the beginning. Oh, all right. So anybody got any questions? Want to speak on anything? All right, said good lesson. Thank you for call. Um, Shalom. I'm in Yasin. Uh, Great 202. Thank you for stopping by. Let me see. Smash Idol. Peace, brother. Oh, who is that for call right here? Said device is not connected. All right, let me bring you on stage.
Hey, shalom, bro.
Peace,
Yeah,
peace.
that was a good lesson. I liked it.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
What's up, call?
Hey,
Peace.
shalom, shalom. Yeah, yeah, that was a
Shalom,
good
shalom,
lesson.
shalom.
Yeah, yeah, that was a
Thank you,
good
man.
lesson.
72 slabs, man. That was beating me up for a second. I was trying to hold on.
Yeah, that's cool though. That's cool. Yeah, I liked it, man. You point out a lot of good points in your lesson. And I also feel like it's a important lesson because a lot of us are trapped in mythology and imaginations.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I feel like that's a
yeah. We
good
are,
a
and
good lesson.
yeah, and it'd be so crazy because yeah, and it'd be so crazy because a lot of people when they hear mythology they get all scared, but I'm like, man, you use mythology every day. You
Right,
just don't know.
right,
You're pushing it every day. You're teaching it every day. You're talking it every day.
right,
When you say the days of the week, you're pushing mythology.
right,
You know what I'm saying?
right,
Because I did a whole thing on the days of the week, the days of the month. I did it, everything, because these people have took it and they base it in everyday life, and and when they think people hear it as this bad thing, but it's not. It's lessons in it. It's a easier way of teaching. That's why I say when people learn it, they're gonna understand it better.
right,
You know what I'm saying? It makes it way understand when I did the hypno chant. Hypnos is sleep. His brother is death.
right,
His mother is darkness, and his father is night. You go to sleep at night. It's dark at night, and the death is close to sleep. Death is the brother of sleep. So you see what I'm saying? All that goes together.
right. It does. Exactly, it does. Because I recently, well, since the past, I'll say the past 6 months, I've been studying up on mythology, and I have ran into a couple of brick walls, but I climbed over the walls, and I realized, like you said, it all is mythology, and it all based on, like, the imagination of the mind. So I agree, one hundred
Yeah,
percent.
yeah. And people get scared when they because I remember when I started talking about mythology, man, people told me, "What you doing, magic and stuff?" I'm like, "What?" I said, "Man, that's man." I said, "Bro, how you get mythology out of doing magic?" I said, "That's how I know people just people." Then I had one person. He was a Christian. He was talking about, "Oh, this guy, he's teaching mysticism." So I did a whole show on mysticism, where mysticism come from, and I showed him by you being a Christian, you teach mysticism. So why you hate mysticism when mysticism is a part of your religion? And
Right,
he was like, oh man, like he just was shocked. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't how
hmm
you part of something you don't study what you are. What's wrong with
right,
people? Like, you know what
exactly,
I'm saying? You claiming
exactly. You
something and
always got
don't
to
know
study.
nothing about yourself.
Yeah, I agree. You have to study on this stuff. You just can't blindly believe like religion teaches us. You have to study this stuff for yourself. Otherwise, you'd be lost in the sauce.
Yeah, yeah. Like and I tell people, I told people, man, if you keep believing in stuff that you reality you shouldn't believe in, you're gonna lose touch with reality, and you could be in a
Right.
straitjacket somewhere. You know what I'm
Right. I know a
saying?
couple of them too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They gonna end up giving you medicine.
Yeah.
You be
Hey,
like, I swear, animals can talk. Yeah, okay, sir, take this medicine real quick for
yeah.
me.
I'm trying to tell you. Hey, I'm not scared to say it. I have been lost in it myself once or twice, but
Yeah,
I'm the type of person I'm not gonna lay down. I'm gonna get back up, man.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Because
sir.
the difference between people like us is when we learn something, we take it if it's truth. If it's not, we don't accept it. A lot of people who want to believe takes truth and throw it away if it's not agreeing with what they believe in, and that's the problem what
Mhm.
people have. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
a lot of people lose. Like I was talking to a dude, he said, "Yeah, I believe I'm a scientist, but I believe a little bit of the Bible." So he believed that Jesus walked on water. I said, "Now scientifically, is that possible?" He said, "No." So I said, "Why the hell,
Right.
when you read the Bible, you throw away the whole science, you throw away everything you learned that's scientific, and try to say that it
Mhm.
happened when you know it's scientifically impossible? You know, if you try to go walk on water, you go drown."
Right.
You know
that's
what I'm
why.
saying? Like, what's wrong
That's
with
why I
you?
say it's a good lesson because I think me and you on the same wavelength when it comes to rationale. You have to live rationally too. Ain't no way
Yeah,
that you gonna walk on water. It's not
yeah.
possible. It's
Yeah.
not
Now,
possible.
now I tell people now. I think the way I study and learn. I think that's the Most High did this. I think the Most High gave me my power, and I found it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying He just gave me the power. I found it. That the power that He
Right.
already stored upon me. Because I tell people, man, I came from the streets. I was selling drugs
Right.
at 13. I got kicked out of all my school. I never went back to school at 15 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I ain't get my GD to 30. So I was going in and
Right.
out of jail, and I don't supposed to be able to know this stuff. I don't supposed to be able to read the way
Right.
I read. I don't supposed to be able to understand the way I understand because everybody else around me don't. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
I'm
Me and
looked
your
at as the one
background
that people
similar.
come to and act. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, me and your background a lot, like I said, similar. My background is similar to yours, coming from the streets, the
yeah,
hood and stuff, and people counting you out, bad school system and not knowing how to, research with words and just going along with what religion tell you. So yeah, we are a lot alike. But
yeah. And and that's why I told DOA, what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna do this, John. I said, I ain't gonna keep it short because I want people to actually see this because, people see like a 5 hour video like we did last time. They ain't gonna go back. So, but I'm trying to get people because I want people to wake up once they understand this mythology, once they
uh,
understand metaphors, once they understand symbolism, once they understand morals of the story, once they understand it. Like, a dude was talking to me, right? He gonna ask me. I remember I was talking to this atheist the other day. He gonna say, "Oh, why the Bible ain't simple? Like, let's just, like the Humpty Dumpty story. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall and failed." And I said, well, so what's the lesson in the Humpty Dumpty story? Oh,
right,
that he failed. I said, no, the story is that he went to a high, that he put himself so high that when he fell and he crashed and he couldn't pick himself up again. I said, you know what the story that resembles? That's the
right,
Isaiah story. That's the Lucifer Isaiah story. The
right,
Lucifer
because he was a
Isaiah story is,
king.
yeah, a king that raises to try to raise himself up so high when he failed, he could
Hmm.
never get back up again. It's a
Yep,
it's a it's a
exactly.
it's a story, it's a lesson to that. You see what I'm saying? But what
Right,
happens is when you think Lucifer is a real person, you start talking about an angel that was in heaven and fell out of the sky. So now you ain't getting nothing of the lesson of the story or nothing. You just taking everything literal, and that's where you miss out
right.
on it.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that too. Because, like you said, the Humpty Dumpty thing it was actually a couple of different versions of that, and one of the versions that the egg man he was a king, you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah,
so that correlates, correctly. And
yeah,
I understand it, but I know a lot of people really don't understand it.
yeah.
But
He just thought the story was about an egg that was on the wall and fell. I said, "Come on, man! Like, you ain't no way you thought that was a lesson. It's probably kids that was taught in elementary school what that lesson means, man." You know
right,
what
I
I'm
was
saying?
learning that in kindergarten. So
Yeah, like, come on, man. Like, how you just gonna say just an egg fell and busted? No, that's not what that means. There's a lesson behind that story. Just let all nursery stories, all the stories they give you, it has a lesson behind it. It ain't just it ain't just a Dr. Zeus. I don't care what Doctor, whatever his name is, Dr. Seuss, whatever they give you, it all has a lesson behind it. Everything has a lesson.
right, yeah, it does. I 100
But I wanted to
percent.
break down the most. I want to break down the all mythology because, like I said, when people hear a myth or mythology, oh, you trying to say something fake, and I'm like, no, it doesn't mean that. It's different forms of mythology and the way different teach. It actually preserved the history. You wouldn't
Right,
even have half of this history you study of ancient history, biblical history. You wouldn't even have it if it wasn't for mythology.
right,
And that's what people don't
yep,
understand it.
right.
If you
Yeah,
don't
I
put
agree
that
with
fish,
that.
if you don't put that fish in the freezer and you leave it in the sun, it's gonna fucking get old and spoil. If you put it on the, if you put it in the cold, it's gonna preserve it. That's what mythology did.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah,
You know. But I do know well, I ain't gonna I'm gonna let you finish what you're saying first, but
yeah, yeah, no,
before
you
I say
good.
what I'm gonna say, because I know this probably gonna
I'm
You
probably
know.
I'm probably lagging because I've been finished for about like 10 seconds when you said that, so it's probably lagging a little bit. But you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is lagging a little bit. Like I said, me and you studied around the same wavelengths or whatever. But I understand too why people think that mythology is real because it's been certain instances and I talk to different people and they'll tell me stuff like for example, I was talking to this chick on Facebook and she was saying like, hey, her daughter was demon possessed and there's a devil running after her. And I'm trying to explain to her like what's actually going on with the process. But she don't want to hear that. She didn't want to hear that. It's a demon on, it's a demon on. I'm like, I'm trying to explain to you that hey, it's possibly a sickness or something that's going on with her
Yeah,
body. And for the simple fact that, it's other varies with it because it could be something that she's watched on television to make her imagination run wild. But it
yeah,
varies.
yeah,
It varies
and
a lot.
yeah, because I had a conversation when I was on the lines then back in the day, right? And they had this show talking about how they were saying people with autism. It won't the lines then per se. It was people on. I ain't gonna say no names. I'm not a person that's trying to expose
Right.
nobody. But it was some people saying that autism and stuff like that was people that had demons in them. And I said, and I went to him, and I got so mad because I said, man, do you know what you
Oh
telling
yeah,
people?
no.
You telling people you're telling people
Right.
that they got demons in them because they have a
Yeah.
mental problem and not a mental
Right.
problem. So they had a whole show of mental illness as demons, right? So I
I
went
think I
back,
saw that show.
yeah. So I went back after them, and I went and I did mental health, and I went
Right.
and showed how it attacks their brain, what it does to them, the symptoms they have, how they
Convulsion and
can have it
shaking and stuff.
treated. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's showing how child trauma, how child abuse, how like I did a junk whole thing on serial killers. People just say, "Oh, serial killers evil," but if you look at these
Mhm.
serial killers, these are people that be on the news. These are people that be in cages. They was whipped with
Right.
spikes and was molested. But he hear them
Right.
on the news, but you don't understand what them. We don't know what happens to the children when they grow up because if they don't
Right.
get help and they just grow up in that environment, they think that is normal. So they go molest, they go kill, and people just like, oh, he's evil, but you never look at the childhood. You know what I'm saying? I know people like my mom before she died. My mama, my mama was 9 years old when her mama died. She
Mhm.
died from an aneurysm. Her
Wow.
mama was telling her to get this medicine, and she 9 years old. She didn't go get it. Her mama passed. Till she died at 65 years old, she blamed herself for her mama death
Oh
from all the
wow.
way from a child, and that affected her whole life. So if you don't get, if you as a child do not fix it as a child, and you don't fix your traumas, it will affect you all the way up as a kid. When I was going through all this stuff in the streets and I was fighting, I got in 120 fights from seventh
Mm.
grade to ninth. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And I
Right.
was beat, and I was so angry. I'm going to jail. I faced a juvenile life at 15 on a gun charge. I'm doing all this stuff, and I went
Right.
back and said, you know what? I was angry because my dad wasn't around because I was
Right.
talking to my first cousins and they said, "Man, your dad raised us." I'm like, "That nigga ain't raised me." Would you tell you what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So, the anger of my dad, well, I would say they ain't all, but that part of my anger was coming from me not knowing my dad and he not being around. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when we look at when you can go back and dissect why you acting like this is when you can fix things. But a lot of people
Mhm.
don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And another perspective on saying far as like mythology and the imagination or whatever the mind. I do well from what I'm researching and reading in different books and stuff. And I do need to put the book that I be reading too in the back check. I ain't gonna say it so everybody can,
Yeah, yeah,
grab it for we do. But
yeah,
like for me, like when it comes to like the whole Lucifer thing and different demons and spirits and stuff like that. At one point I did talk to Yashua about it. He was explaining to different things. And his side of perspective on it. But like when it comes to like you can tell me how this sound to you also. But like when it comes to like demons and such, all those things, I feel like there
yeah,
is only one power that's Yah's power. But there's different spirits that he command, and with those different spirits, it to me by just living the 37 8 years I've been living, is
Yeah.
that like when people get into the realm of following behind idols, their imagination gets warped, and so they seem like they are more susceptible to their own imagination to believe in these false demons and idols are actually real, but they actually are not. But it's actually just illusions, like the Bible say, like a puff of smoke, like it's there but it's not there, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say this, right. I'm gonna say I have seen some things that was abnormal, right?
Right, right,
I've seen a girl levitate, and when I say seen her, I haven't seen her. I didn't see her by myself. I was at a whole church event. I seen people running out the house like, oh, we seen her floating, shutting doors, But our mind is so strong, we don't know where that's coming from. But I have
right,
seen a being. I have seen a being.
right,
Outside of I've seen two beings that wasn't human, right?
right,
And my brother seen it at the same time. So it's not
right,
an illusion just coming from me. But
right,
like I said, a lot of stuff is a play on words. See, I believe in dimensions. So I also like when Billy Cosby teach stuff like that. I believe because I teach that stuff too. That is dimension. So we are
right,
in a third dimension, and some of these beings are in a fourth dimension. So it's
right,
not really like what they say is ghosts and spirit. These are names. So when he
right,
says there's no such thing as a demon,
mhm,
we understand the etymology of the word. We're not really just talking about just as well. He might be something, but me, when I say that, I'm not just talking about it as nothing outside of a human aspect. I'm just saying is demon is the origin comes from a certain place in Greek mythology, and Christians took it
mhm,
and put it on something else and say this is what a demon is. And when they so
right,
like hell, right? Hell comes from a place called Johanna. Look it up. When you look up the origin of hell, it will tell you it come from a place called Johanna in West
right,
Jerusalem, to Peth, where they would sacrifice Moloch. When you talk about
right,
heaven, right? Heaven, it means sky. Heaven don't mean a place when you die. The Christians took that and turned it into
right,
a place when you die. When you talk about but am I saying it? It ain't no. But see, by me saying it, by me saying it ain't no heaven and hell. Am I saying it ain't no place to go when you leave here? No, I'm not saying that. See,
right,
that's what people got me confused because when I say it ain't no
mhm,
heaven and hell, they like, oh, so you saying ain't no way you go, you die. That's not what I said.
right,
I said the Christian version of death is not real. You see what I'm saying? When they talk
right,
about spirit, see, Yasha, when we break down these words, it's kind of messes you up a little bit because when somebody say spirit, I know you talking in a Greek in a Christian form when they say spirit, but when you go into a
mhm,
Hebrew form of spirit, it means breath. So
right,
he don't like when you say certain words, it's gonna trigger us because we gonna say, man, spirit means breath. It doesn't mean that. But I say
right,
I don't I got myself out of that to understand when he means spirit, he means outside of the body when he leaves this flesh. You know what I'm saying?
right,
I teach that the subconscious is the soul. The subconscious is where the soul at. That's where you meet God at. That's what control your whole body. It's your subconscious, your conscious, your mind, and your brain. Your
right,
subconscious is the top. You can subconsciously move your fingers without even thinking about it. You can talk without having to think about it because you're subconsciously doing it. Because that's where you meet God at, and that's where your soul is at. That's what I teach. You know what I'm saying? So it's all to me is a play of words. It's who I'm talking to. I got to understand. If I'm talking to a Christian or I'm talking to a person who we call Pharisees or a mystic, because that kind of believes in spirits and stuff like that, I got to understand where you're
right,
coming from. Because if I just say, oh, spirit is the breath, now we gonna be arguing over a spirit breath or spirit means this instead
right,
of me just understanding what you mean. And so I had to get out of that too because when I started breaking that, like Satan, right? People say
mhm,
Satan is a being. In Hebrew, Satan is a person, a nation, or a superhuman. Superhuman means something like a person in power, a warrior.
right,
You see what I'm
power,
saying? So yeah,
mhm,
but it's anything that's against the Most High or Israel,
right,
they are
adversary,
Satan. Yeah, but again, when you go into this Greek and Christian type Greek, they'll tell you that it's a being. You see what I'm
mhm,
saying? And that's where we get discrepancies from because we're like and people say when people get mad when I say it's a separation between it because you're not actually teaching what we teaching. You'll say Satan is
right,
this, we say Satan is this, we saying heaven is this, you saying heaven is that because we're actually
right,
teaching in a Hebrew thought. We're not teaching in a Christian mysticism thought. But that doesn't. But me and him has discrepancies on things like the afterlife. He don't believe, so I do. But I believe not because of the Bible. I believe in the afterlife because I study NDE. I don't know if you know what that is, near death experiences. You
Right,
know what
right.
I'm saying?
I'm a
Yeah,
little bit fluent on it. I studied up on. Well,
yeah.
I actually am studying on it now, honestly.
Well, study the man. He goes to VCU. He's the leading he's the leading expert in near death experience. He works at
Mm,
VCU. He's did over 3,500 patients that went to hospice. He's watched them die. He watched them come back. He asked what they seen. He wrote it down. He does it in a study. So these much the most people everything everybody seen was the light. It was what they call a light.
right,
And when they see this light, it's peaceful. Some people don't see nothing. Some people see
right,
darkness. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So I tell people, you see darkness, boy. I don't know what to tell you.
I was just trying to say
Yeah,
that.
that mean you might be going somewhere you don't want to go to. You know
You
what
in the
I'm
real, the wrong side of the fence.
saying? Yeah,
I'm
because I
telling
remember
you.
Rob Bourne was trying to say it ain't no afterlife because I seen darkness when I died. I said, how you see darkness if you saying it ain't nothing? You seen
Right.
darkness meaning you was conscious.
You
You
ain't
you know
seeing
that
darkness.
darkness
You
was
see.
there.
Right.
So you know what I mean.
Right.
So it's just the aspect of play of words that confuse a lot of people. The same, like I said, with
Mhm.
mythology. When I say mythology, it's like, oh, you're trying to say it's fake. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Until you understand mythology, then now when I say it, and when you understand, it's like you understand it. So now when you start looking at stuff, you can be like, wow. You go start being
Mhm.
like, damn, that's mythology. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I throw it
Mhm.
around so much now that people get scared of it. You know what I'm saying? And and,
Right.
and people like atheists and stuff, they don't know what to do because they don't know they haven't heard person that reads the Bible and speaks in about talk about God and to say stuff mythology. So
Right.
when you talking to somebody, they be like, oh, like one of the Osprey dudes, they was like, God is a man. So I showed the verse that said God is not a human, that he should lie. You know that verse, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
he tried to show me God as a man of war. I said, man, that's a metaphor. That's mythology. That don't. He was like God coming down with a sword and all. I said, man, that's mythology, man. And I said, that's symbolism. And he was like, yeah, you're right. And he left me alone because he
Right.
understood that I ain't one of them people, the Christians that's in them, but that believes everything. So they leave you
Right.
alone when you do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said that's how
Right.
you could defend yourself. I don't have people come to me and say, oh, so I guess you think the donkey talk then? No, I don't. Or you think the snake
like
talk then? No, I don't. And they be shocked. They
like
be
the
like,
guy
huh?
the other night,
Yeah, you see what I'm
like
saying?
Bo came on there talking about
Yeah,
the donkey.
yeah. You see what I'm saying?
You
Because
see when I had said, I said, man, at the end of the day, he was about to get killed. That was the lesson you
yeah.
need, you know.
Oh, you
But
talking about
man,
even the Balaam? Yeah.
yeah, Bo when he was talking about the talking donkey, and
Oh, yeah,
hey,
yeah,
did
yeah,
talking, and yeah, I'm like, man,
yeah. And that's why that's why I try to tell people when it's believers, right? You have believers
right,
that just believe in anything without studying, without research. Then you have what I call scholarly believers. They believe and they try to find things to
find
prove
the
what they
evidence
believe.
of it, right,
Then you have truth seekers. What I call myself a truth seeker, meaning I look for something that I might did believe in, and I try to see if it's true. And if it's not true, I take it as not true. And if it is true, I take it as true. And many people
right,
can't do that. Many people can't look in the Bible and say, because I tell people, I said the other show, on the other show, I said, what if I told you I don't believe Moses split the Red Sea? What if I told you I don't believe Moses did go on the mountain and God strike the stone and gave him the Ten Commandments? I said, does that take away of Israel creating a nation in Canaan? No, it doesn't.
no, it don't,
Because what happens is you worship the figured Moses. So when I tell you,
mm-hmm.
if I told you right now Moses ain't real and he ain't write nothing, I'm not saying this, but I'm just saying if I said Moses not real and he ain't write no book, you know what I'm saying? He ain't write nothing. He ain't real. You're gonna get mad at me because I'm saying. But if I say Israel did go into Canaan, you're gonna still get mad at me because I said Moses ain't real. So you really worship the character. You're not worshiping. You're not following the history of it. You're not
Right,
following what you're supposed to follow. You're following you following your belief system, and that's the problem.
mm-hmm. Their imagination. That's what it be.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm
That's
saying.
why he asked me that Moses split the Red Sea. I said, no, man. That man. Do I believe he took a staff and put it on the Red Sea and split the whole Red Sea and they walked across? No, I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I don't believe it. No.
Right.
I mean, I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
get it.
I don't know what
Yeah, I
else to
get
tell
it.
you. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? But I did show in my Exodus that it's a part that he did go through, and the Egyptians knew at this certain time when the wind blew at a certain type of speed and it's narrow that actually it gets split
Hmm.
enough to where it makes it narrow enough for you to walk across. That's
Right.
believable.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's not telling you that this didn't happen. It tell you it could happen this way.
They're using
But what happened is when
rationale.
you said yeah, but when you use rationale and try to say, well, maybe it happened this way, they try to act like you don't believe in it. No, I'm
Hmm.
trying to defend it. I'm trying to defend it. That's why you can't
Right.
defend it and I can. I can
Right.
go head to head with the atheists and all these people because I know how to do scholarship. I know how to do science. I know how to do history. I'm not just going to read it from the Bible.
Right. I
You
troll
see
the
what I'm
atheists all
saying?
the time too. They be
Yeah.
mad at. Oh yeah.
Because atheists don't know it. The atheists don't. What you gotta learn, atheists don't really know science. They don't really know
They
history.
don't.
They know more
They
than
don't.
believers do, and that's why they attack them. But when they know somebody, like I said, they keep talking about this guy Google Scholar. I've been dealing with Google Scholar for a long time. I remember he came on Yasha show and he was talking about evolution. Oh, evolution, this and that. I got a whole presentation on evolution. I'm talking about from the single cell to the multi cell to how it became a water being to how it became a salamander to how they talk about the fish with the became a
The,
salamander
the
into the
water
ground
weasel.
and he was hairy. Yeah, and how he got on 2 feet because they started eating from the trees, so they adapted. They started walking on 2 feet into how they turned into this monkey or ape type creature. But they don't.
Mm,
What it don't show is how really it turned from an ape to a man. And when I
mm,
showed them this whole presentation, right, and I said, well, tell me how can y'all really prove that a ape or a chimpanzee turned into a human when y'all
mm,
telling me it takes millions of years, right? And he
mm,
said, you know
mm,
what he told me? Oh, I don't really
mm,
know enough. I don't really know about evolution like that. You gotta ask Unc. So why you trying to come to us
mm.
about evolution? Because you thought we was dumb on it. You thought we was retarded
Right.
on
Man, I feel like evolution is
it.
another religion. To be honest about it.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Because you have to
They can't prove. They
believe that
can't.
an ape did that. You know.
Yeah, they would have to take they would have to take a chimp and age and evolve I guess we call it evolution process him millions of years
Hmm.
fast within a couple of years, meaning they would have to try to fit 12 years of evolution and look at it within a lifetime, and they can't do that because you can't
Right.
take 12 million
Exactly.
years and fast forward it. So they can't
Hmm.
tell you exactly. I mean, Uncle, I'm gonna try to say because what happened is we went out from the trees and we lost our hair and all. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, I don't believe none of that. That's bull.
Yeah. All
You know
them
what I'm saying?
fools.
Like
All them
they,
fools,
yeah.
man.
I tell them, I say you are teaching racism. That's what you're teaching. You're
Yeah,
teaching
yeah, they
racism.
was, they was actually teaching that yesterday, man. And I was in the chat with Sutton Call show, and I just was trolling them because I know it's like it's no way possible that an ape transform into a man in a set period of time, which you really don't even know. So I was like, yeah, that's religion. And then when I realized what she was actually doing, I said, that's racism. You really actually teaching against a black woman because you see certain features in a black woman that you correlate this with looking like a, what I'm saying, an ape. And I'm like, that's racism, man. Like, stop playing. Like, that's
Yeah,
craziness, man. That's a religion. That's what it is. So I agree.
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
ain't no way.
and even Uncle said, and even when these evolution try to do and try to act like evolution is against God, can you turn light on? Can you turn light on? Exactly. You know the one thing evolution that Unc said about evolution? Evolution Unc said evolution is not meant to prove that God don't exist.
Mm,
It's to prove that where they
that's what he
believe that
said.
human mankind started from. You see what I'm saying? So any
I ain't
evolution
gonna
is
say
trying
that.
to push that yeah. He said it let me see when he said it. It's either on Sarnetta was the last, then I can't remember. But he said evolution does not prove that God doesn't exist. It's not meant for that. Science is not meant to prove God
Mm,
don't exist. I can use
right, it is.
science to prove a lot of things. Like science is the explanation of things.
Right.
That's what science
The
is supposed to do.
observing
Science is
and
supposed to
all that.
explain things.
Right.
Yeah, it's supposed to explain things. It don't supposed to say, oh, just because I could tell you how a baby's born, see, God didn't do it. What that got to do with anything? You just explaining how God set a system up.
Right.
You know what I'm
That's
saying? Because I use it the same way.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
go ahead.
I
My bad. It's
actually just
lag. I
learned
can
that.
tell it's lag.
Yeah, it is lagging a little bit, but I basically like
Yeah,
what you talking. And I know because I research and having stuff you saying. I done read it, in different books and different scholars. They'll say, what science really is, to the point that I found out that science is really at its root is what they used to call the magi. The magi really are the modern day scientists. So, I understand
yeah.
what they doing, what they trying to do anyway when it comes to all of that. So it's definitely, what I'm saying, it's
They're
it's,
just
it's, it's
trying to
real
say,
interesting.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
and that's why I say I study science. I call myself the mad scientist. People like, why you call yourself the mad scientist? I said because I mean, really, what I started off because I started the name up because I like what you call orthodox science.
Right.
Like I study genetic engineering. I study cloning. I study the neuroscience, near death experience.
Right.
I like stuff that like a lot of people ain't really looking into.
Right. Right.
So I just named myself the mad science because I feel like it's mad science. It's science that a lot of people don't really look at. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I
Right.
love looking at stuff like neuroscience and near death experience because that stuff mental health psychology, these things I love, man, because these things how you can really help people. See, it's good to talk
Right.
about religion, it's good to talk about mythology, but I like talking about psychology. I like because I don't sit down with people that was molested. I don't sit down with people that was
Right.
raped. I don't sit down with people. I was talking to a girl one time, and we was sitting in a room, and I was talking about how abortion is murder, right? And she got mad at
Wow.
me. I mean, she got so mad, bro.
Wow.
She was like, I'll spit in your face. I'll spit in your face. I got raped. You could tell me
Wow.
that murder, abortion is murder. You know what I told her? I said,
Hmm.
you can spit in my face if you want to. I still believe it ain't gonna change my belief, and that's calmed her
Right.
down for a second, right? So we started talking. So she was
Hmm.
telling me how she got raped and how she hated her son at the time because she thought her son was gonna be like the rapist and
Well, I
he
don't think
looked
you can say
like
the
him.
rape word
And
though.
she
You
was
gotta
like,
say grape. I think on this
I mean,
platform.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, great. Yeah, great. My bad.
Yeah,
The
but
great.
yeah, yeah, cut
How
this
she
off
got
real
raped.
quick.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah. So how she got raped and she was like, you ever had somebody you look in his face and the person look just like the person you hate and all this stuff, right? And I'm like, look, that person is a whole different being.
Right,
You can't say the only way something like that happens if see you got to give them. That's why I said you got to study this. Like you got to understand the only stuff way that stuff will happen is if that person that did it has a mental health issue like schizophrenic or something like that made him kind of do it. That it can be passed down to the son. But just
right,
because he is like that and he might not have a mental, that don't mean your son gonna have it. And then you know what I
right.
asked her? I said where your son at now? She said my son is in college. So I said, no, why would you go to other women and tell them to get an abortion if they got raped?
Right.
And you know what? She started crying, and I told her, I said, you instead of you telling them
Hmm.
that, you need to teach them how you did what you did, how you raised your son, even though you had hatred for him sometimes, even though
Right.
you wanted to get rid of him, how you got him all the way to college. You need to tell women that. And she started crying. It was like I always wanted to teach people that. See, she was just angry. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And you got to learn how to get around that angle. So it taught me a lot. Like psychology teach me how to get around people because I can't be angry because she angry now. I can't teach her nothing. Now we just arguing and she ain't
Right.
gonna learn nothing. So I
You
had to
hit
be
on
calm while
a
she was angry and I had to calm her down.
you hit
Yeah.
on a good point then because like even like I said, me and you on the same wavelength. So like you said, psychology and the girl being raped and whatnot, what that or whatever happened. But if you observe how our culture is now. And like for us, like the election and what's going on with, what I'm saying, Kamala Harris and Trump, a lot of people I'm gonna say women, a lot of women, their votes and their outlook and perspective go towards Kamala Harris because they feel like, hey, if we vote for her, then we have the right to abort these babies that we don't want. So all that stuff tied right back into that psychology you just was talking about, all that stuff. And the way that they function, like dealing with the situation, not knowing the what I'm saying, the facts like you just described. So.
Yeah,
It's definitely something need to be talked about and taught.
yeah, yeah. Smash Idol, yeah. He said Eric low key probably getting all the girls. That is I can
Yeah,
say this.
man.
I can say there is a problem when you do talk to women. You start teaching, you start talking to them in a psychology way. They start having feelings for you because they're like, "Oh man, I can
Yeah.
talk to you. You make stuff simple." And it's like, I don't
Hmm.
talk. I talk to a married woman. Is I'm telling her about her marriage, and she like everything you telling me is right, and I'm fixing my marriage. And but you know what? I have a feeling. I have feelings for you. I can't really see if I see you face to face, man. I think I would do something. I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
so
I was just about
yeah,
to say that,
I
man.
gotta keep my
gotta
I
gotta
gotta
stay
keep my
out that lane
composure.
now.
Yeah, yeah,
The women like
yeah.
that, man. You see
Yeah,
what?
so I keep my composure of that. You know what I mean? I try to
Hmm.
let them know, like, look, I'm here to be a friend. I'm here for advice, man. Because I can control my urge. I went celibate for a certain amount of times and stuff because I can kind of
Right,
control my urge. Sometimes you go, I'm human. I ain't act like I'm no holy person.
right,
I'm not. You know what I'm
right.
saying? I'm just a person who cares, who try to do the best he can, who try
That's
to be
right.
as righteous as he can. You know what I'm saying? And I know
Hmm.
we slip. The people,
Yes,
I think
sir.
the wickedest people is the people that act like they don't slip, that act like they don't do nothing.
Right,
I hate people like that. We call
right.
stiff neck. Yeah,
Yes,
so
sir. I learned, man. I learned back in 2006, like right at the start of my walk of, what I'm saying, of learning the Bible and my walk of, learning who God really is. I was under that spell, as far as like, the Christ spell. I call it the Christ spell because everybody under that spell, they see visions and they dreams, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
was under that illusion for a period of time, and during that, illusion spell, at one point I thought I was perfect, but y'all, showed me that I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? He
yeah,
knocked me right on out of there and said, look, wait a minute, ain't nobody perfect. So don't walk around and try to be perfect, And that came
exactly.
through not him, talking to me, but through mistakes, me saying that it's almost impossible for one man to be perfect. We all make mistakes. So I agree.
Yeah, I mean, trust me. Like I tell people, my Christian background, man. I was in church. Like I can show you a picture. Like my brother's a minister. My
Mhm.
first cousin's a minister. I got another cousin that's a minister. When I was in church, I was in the usher. I was doing scripture. I was baptized at 9. I was in the choir. My mama was the bus driver. My mama and my grandma was would clean the churches and the baptism pool. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So all my uncles and great uncles and great aunts, all of them was deaconess and deacons. You know what I'm saying? So I
Mhm.
grew up in a Baptist church, real background to where everybody was a Christian. And then when I
Right.
left there, I went into the Camp Israelite type thing. No, I was the Old Testament. I went into Old Testament. No, no. Well, before all that, I was studying like stuff like Egypt and the Wapi and stuff and
Right.
Moorish. Like I dibbled and dabbled all that stuff. But once I found out what they worshipped, I always was a Most High worshiping person. So
Right.
if I found out you didn't worship the Most High, I left you. So I
Right.
kind of like
And it does.
yeah. So yeah. So I end up falling into this Old Testament guy, but he was a Mason. It's crazy. He was a Mason, but he was an Israelite, and he was
Right.
teaching me. He told me don't. He the one that told me don't ever be a Mason, right? And he was
Yeah.
teaching me the Israelite stuff, and he got mad at me because one day I went to sleep and I woke up. I said, "Man, I had a dream that Jesus told me that was talking to me, told me, and I started. That's how I believe in Him again." Man, they got so mad at me, they cut me off.
I'm telling you. Oh man. Mm.
Then
We
I
all
started
been there.
messing with the Ash became. Yeah, then I started messing with the Ash and then I left the Ash became Old Testament again. I don't call myself Old Testament. I don't call myself really Torah.
Right.
I call myself y'all only. Like that's why I call myself because I believe the Most High is
Right.
outside of the Bible. I don't. I believe that when we
Right.
stay inside the Bible, we try to put him in a box like we really know who
Yep.
the Most High really is.
Try to
You know what I'm
box him
saying?
in.
So yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? I take concepts from it like Psalms. My favorite verse is Psalm. Well, my favorite part is Psalm verses of Psalms 82 and 6.
Hmm.
We are gods because we are children of the Most High. So I
Right.
go to a motherfucker and say, "What's up, God?" And they be like, "Oh, what you fabulous sinner?" No, we the one that made that up. Don't let these people
Hmm.
fool you and think that they made that concept, but we made that stuff. But we are the Elohim because we are
Right.
the children of the Most High. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? And people don't
Yeah, I get it.
understand that. Yeah,
Hmm. My
I
the
cause
favorite.
controversy.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. The most favorite verse that is mine. There's a verse that always kept me rooted during my whole experience at walk is Psalms 24 verse 1, where it said that the earth is the Lord's and everything therein and thereof. That verse there, I memorized it. And when I
yeah,
do my meditation, I say that, in my mind. That one singing verse kept me rooted through all my, different experiences. And like you said, I I done dreamed some crazy dreams. Also, like you said, I done seen some beings like you all, what I'm saying, like you explained also. But the main thing that I always know that it's no power except y'all's power. So I
exactly,
fully agree.
exactly.
And a lot of people
Because
they
I
don't know
mean,
how to make
even
that
in
distinction.
scripture, yeah, even in scripture, they think about it. Even in scripture, it says he was sending evil spirits.
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
So when yeah, so he when we and I tell people when you got punished in Israel, God did it. Ain't no Satan do it.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
When Solomon turned his back on God, the women did it. Ain't no
Yep.
devil that Satan do it. They did it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
All
it's
800 of them, man. Because you gotta, it's
yeah,
funny that you say that though. You gotta think about it because if you got 800 women, you trying to tell me that 700 of them ain't jealous? They gonna put some in your drink?
exactly.
Like come on now.
Yeah, and
They
to see
gonna,
the concept of having all the webs, the reason the Most High was mad at him is because not because he had on the webs, because he had different webs that wasn't Israelites, and they was when he said they was going to turn him
right,
from him. So that's why he started doing all this other stuff and
right.
he started doing all these other rituals and
Yep,
spells and doing all this other type of wisdom, getting it from other different
yep.
deities,
Them
and that's why
women
the Most High
from
punished
them
him.
different women
You know what I'm
cultures.
saying? So yeah.
Hmm. I
Yeah,
agree.
ain't no Satan do that. Ain't no devil do that. You see what
Yep,
I'm saying? That's
I
why guys
agree.
come to me and say, "How come?" A guy come to me and say, "How come God let children get raped?" Well, how come you ain't blaming the rapist? How come you blaming God? But see,
Mean grape, man. Grape,
If
grape,
God made
grape,
you, yeah.
grape.
I mean, great. My bad. Great,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, great. If God made you, if God made you obey Him, you would be crying about that. But He
Right,
gave you the power to. And me and DOA was talking about that. Everything has order. The
right,
sun has order, the water has order, the sky. The only people who doesn't have to follow order is humans, and we have the power not to just not only just to obey order and not follow order. We have the
right,
power to make everything else disobey order.
right. Chaos.
We could
Yep.
yeah, we could cause chaos. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's that's why I don't talk to the atheists, man, because I think that uh they're not. I mean, I think they fools. Like the scripture says, a person who don't believe in God is a
Mhm.
fool. You know what I'm saying? It's just like
Right.
I don't know what to say to you. You believe when you die, you're not going nowhere. Like who wants to believe? Like why would you want to believe that? Like what is wrong with you? You just want
Right.
to believe when you die, you just go nowhere. Like come on, man. Like it's craziness. And
Right.
I don't believe the concept of if this rapist and this killer and this person who grapist, my bad, grapist. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
this
Great.
grapist and this yeah, the serial killer and people that's doing all this stuff. If they going to the same place I'm going to, then why am I being racist? I tell atheists
Right.
all I tell
that's
I
that's
ask
one of the
atheists all the
main
time.
things.
Yeah,
Right.
I ask them all the time. If you don't believe that there's nothing after this, and you don't believe there's no punishment for what you doing here, then why don't you do what you want to do?
Right. That's just like you were saying, the concept of, they be like, everybody going to heaven when they die. It's like, okay, this dude done killed 10 to 20 people. Ain't no way he going to heaven and he resting in peace, man. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah,
ain't going to the same place or, he ain't having the same experience I'm having. I'll put it like that. It ain't
yeah,
possible. Yeah, but
exactly.
with that I feel like, people they get they just dessert before they die. That's how I feel when it comes to that anyway.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So, but I agree. I agree, man. And I definitely agree. It's just like the other day I was talking to this chick and she posed a question like all they do them do. They say, well, why did God let the babies be killed in Egypt? I'm like, it's an explanation for all that. You just gotta
Yeah,
you gotta research. It wasn't
yeah.
just
I
babies
just did
got
the whole.
killed.
Yeah, I just did the whole Moses thing and show why. I did the whole Moses thing and show why a lot of that stuff was happening in that story. You know what I mean?
Right.
And people don't read the whole story. People,
They
it's
don't.
almost like when you watch it's almost like people watch TikTok now and they watch short films. Okay, you
Yep.
watching this person talk, you watching this person did a whole hour video, but you watching a 3 minute video and then you think you know what this
6 minute
whole video
video.
talk about.
6 minute
Yeah,
video
and so
about
you
planting cat.
you be like, you heard what you heard what this person said. This person said this and this, and then when you watch the whole video, you like, dang, I see why this person said this. He was actually trying to explain this, but a person can cut stuff out and make it seem like you saying something, and that's
Yeah,
what
they
they do with
do.
scripture. They take something like Sanetta was saying that God made the people eat dung at one time. So
Right.
I went
Oh,
back to
that'll
that
be
verse
twisted
and I
up.
showed that he didn't make people eat dung. What happened was he went
Right.
to Ezekiel and he said, "Go and show these people and basically
Prophesy.
perform in front of them, not perform, but show them in front of them what's going to happen to them." He said, "So
Hmm.
cook food on top of dung." So when he cooked the food on top of the dung, he's sitting at the place and he's telling them, if y'all keep sinning, this is what y'all gonna be looking at.
Right. Your life.
Y'all gonna be invaded by a people who eats like this, who does this, who did, and he's showing you because
Right.
and then I went into history and showed that most nations, a lot of nations, even ancient times, they was cooking off of dung. They had
Using
dung and
they
you using it
dung.
for fuel. We just won't doing it.
Hmm.
You see
And
what I'm saying? So
coffee.
he's telling them, yeah, he's telling them these people take you over. This is what you're going to be faced. It's just like them. If they say like people get scared of if Islam come and take this over, we're gonna be on the Sahara law. We're gonna be on the Sahara
Sharia
law.
law.
They- Yeah, it's a real law. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing as people fearing it. He's telling you if these people take over, this going to happen. If the Chinese take over you, people believe the Chinese communists. If the Chinese take over you, you're not gonna be able to do this. They're gonna have this. It gonna
Hmm.
be a dictatorship. So this is how Ezekiel was telling them, if these people come over here,
Right.
this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be eating food. You're going to be smelling this dung because that's what they go cook. That's what they use their fuel with. And you're not going to like
Right.
half of the stuff that's going on here. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? And so God is warning you, and He sent me to warn you and show you what's going to happen, so you could turn away and this won't happen to you. So that's how
Right.
that story went. But He took one part of verse of God was making people eat dung. I'm like, wait, that don't
Yeah.
even say
Yeah. We
that.
we all know how he do. He
Yeah.
do it for the entertainment. He do it for the gram. I'm telling you. I'm check it out funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even cause yeah, cause DOA know how to do the link. But the link should be all the way at the top. Like if you slide the comments all the way at the top, DOA put the link in the comment. I don't really know how to, you know, he gave me the authorization to do this, but I just don't know how to do it yet. So I will have to learn that. But if you slide the thing down, I
Yeah,
ain't
it's
gonna be
all
here
on top
too
of the
long.
chat.
But if you do come, yeah, if you do come on, I slide off. I'm gonna slide off, but I'll leave y'all two on here. Y'all can talk. I'll just be listening on the outside. But you know, that presentation kind of wore me out. I ain't gonna lie.
You already all there
Kind of
talking
beat me
about it,
up.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah, because
Yes,
there's a lot to
man.
explain.
Yeah, 73 slides. You know what I mean? So, or probably
Hmm.
more because I added some. So I probably did about almost 80 slides.
Right. And then people still ain't gonna
Yeah,
really get it because it takes a lot
yeah,
to read up on that stuff and research it anyway.
yeah,
Kind of like you trying to,
yeah. So
give people out the snack when you had the full course.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
that's why DOA I like the way he do like he we do parts. So like this is just the first part. Once you get there past this part, like he want to do another show, he's gonna do metaphor. He gonna do metaphor. He gonna explain what metaphors and all
Mhm.
that stuff was. What Alan was talking about. So that's why I kind of like try to stay away from the metaphor part. I try to stay
Right,
in because the mythology is all of that together. So he's
right.
gonna break the inside of it, the pieces, and show you like
Oh,
what
okay.
pieces of this more fit. What like you know what I mean? And he gonna do it like he wants to do it scripturally. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I said that's fine because see, I'm showing you historically. I'm breaking it down to
Right.
you historically and how mythology works on other nations. He's going to do it biblically. So it's
Hmm.
so the people that can't understand it the way we saying it, they gonna maybe to understand the way he's saying it because he's gonna use
Right.
the biblical form. Because some people just want some people. I can't. I know some people is just gonna believe. So some people got
Yeah.
to have you break it
Yeah.
down biblically.
Right.
You know, I
Right.
understand. And I
Right.
tell people I don't argue with people who believe, and I don't think you crazy. I mean, I do think
Right.
you know I ain't gonna say that, but I do think there's something wrong with believing, but I think something's wrong with just fully believing. But I respect it being in. If you want to believe, I leave you alone because there's no
Right.
reason to be. What am I arguing with you for? And I know you believe. You see what I'm saying? There's no reason to be trying
Right.
to argue with you with history or science or fact because you believe. That's why I was telling dude.
Right.
Once he said, "I believe the animals talk," and I said, "Well, that's
That
fine,
donkey was talking.
but you
That
can't.
donkey was
You
talking,
can't
man.
debate. You can't. Yeah, but you can't debate with me when I'm talking about facts. The fact is there's no way you can show that outside the Bible. That's a fact.
Right.
You know, and that's all I was
That's
telling.
why.
So you
Then
can't debate me on that because you just say you believe.
right. That's why I was trying to get him to talk more about his point. That's why I asked him. I said, "Well, who was Balaam, man, and what was he doing?" Because I studied up on all that. Like you said, science and the occult, all that stuff. Go hand in hand. And I
Yeah,
know who Balaam was and what he was doing. So I'm like, well, okay, what was Balaam doing? You know. Because they
yeah,
they
he
they
yeah he
they,
didn't want
they
to bring me.
deal with that occult bull crap where they believe in going towards like the doing the trances and the conjuring and messing with different type of elements like roots and intoxicating drugs. So that's why I was trying to get him to say like, okay, who was he? you know, but like
Yeah,
you said,
yeah,
people gonna believe what they want to believe. So
exactly. Yeah, they're gonna believe what they want to believe, and you know what I mean. I'm just glad I'm around a circle of people that that really
want the
that
truth,
think
want to
like
know the
me
truth,
because
right?
yeah, you know what I mean that because I was around so much, but like when I was last then, like I said, I love Karima. I know we gonna have
Right.
problems
Yeah, I
here
got
and there
love for
before,
them.
but I'd never talk bad on Karima because Karima, I done did 30 videos on there. I done been a judge 13 times on there, and she
Right.
let me talk about anything. She let me bring anything on there. She defended me many
Right.
times.
And she will
People
do
used to
now.
call her and tell her, "Don't let me go on the show." Yeah, and people was
Wow.
telling her, "Don't let me come on the show," and she still was letting me do that.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I always have respect for Karima. Like I don't never really
Right.
say nothing bad because he never, we had one little problem that was about the judging thing, and after that, like I don't say nothing bad about her. She never say nothing bad about me. You know what I'm saying? I believe I
Right.
contact her again and say if I want to do a show, she'll let me come on. You know what I'm saying? Because we ain't got that type of bad blood or nothing. It was just, it just we split up from each other for a while.
Right.
But I have mad respect for her. So
Yes, sir.
so it's just yeah, so it's just the people that was around,
Mm-hmm.
the circle was trying to control it because they say, oh, you
Yeah.
saying that's why I said I tell people I don't say I'm an Israelite because now I said if I say I'm an Israelite now you try to control me what I'm supposed to talk about, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't be controlled, man, because I'm not no follower. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I'm not no
Exactly.
person. You could tell me you can talk about this and you can't talk about that because you're an Israelite. Then why didn't I say well I ain't an Israelite then? How about that? And
Right.
I still worship the Most High. What you gonna do about it?
Hey, that's
Nothing.
that 100
You know
percent
what I'm
right
saying? You
there,
can't tell
man.
me what I can worship. Yeah,
Right. That's 100% right. Because like I said, it's like why would you limit yourself in a box? You know what I'm saying? You don't limit
yeah,
y'all. Don't limit yourself. Yeah. So yeah,
yeah,
I'll be in everybody chat room because I don't limit myself. Because if you know something, I want to know, and then once you tell me, I'm going back to research it. I'm going back to look it up. I promise you, I am.
exactly.
Yeah, no, sir. So yeah, but I got love for Kareem though, and like I said, I used to listen to Lion Den. That actually was the first YouTube show I used to listen to was the Lions Den. I listened to you, JJ, the Kareem and them, and Anonymous them. Man, I used to listen to that all night. you know, and I learned some stuff,
Oh
some
yeah, yeah,
things. hmm So definitely a good spot to
oh
learn, pick
yeah.
up some stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I see. Me personally, I see you everywhere. When I when I be in, when I was in the comments, I see you there. I see you know, I see your last days. I see you over
Yes, sir.
here. I see you on Yasha jump. You know what I mean? So
Right,
I was like, these brothers, these people who trying to just learn. You know what I'm saying? Because
right,
sometimes I sit around and be a student. I want to know what other people saying and listen to them. And it's not no it's not a bad it's I'm not an egotistic person, but you start to find out, man, I'm smarter than a lot of these people. I mean, I ain't saying me,
right.
I'm saying
Hey,
that's how
I
you
agree.
I know that's how you look at when you start you be like you be like these people call themselves scholars and look
Yeah,
how they talking and look at because everything is bias. See, bias keeps you limited.
right.
When you're not a
Exactly.
biased person and you can look at something and it doesn't because when I was doing this Christianity stuff and I was trying to push something and I read something that was against what I'm trying to push, I used to ignore it too when I first was doing it. And when I first wasn't a researcher. But when I came a
Right,
researcher, I take everything as it is. Like if something ain't right, I'm not gonna keep pushing it. If something is right, if you can show me something that's right, I'm gonna push it. If you can show me that something is wrong, I'm not gonna push it. You know what I'm saying? And
right,
that's how you get to the truth. You weed out the false lies. You can't have the truth if you still got the lies hanging on you. You know what I'm
right,
saying? So you gotta weed out everything.
right. Yeah, I agree 100% about that. I have to learn. I had to learn. I actually just learned that maybe like a year or two ago. You have to, like you said, you have to listen to people, and then, like you said, weed out the truth and what they talking about. And that's the only way you gonna be able to refute if somebody lying. you know. Like you was talking about the evolution thing, you would
Yeah.
have never known have you not gone and studied yourself. And I would have never known have I not studied when he was talking about that wet weasel thing. Like, well, come on, man. like, like no. But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
got the majority just like to listen
yeah,
for entertainment and they go along with it. Yeah, we monkeys. Like what? Okay, y'all could be monkeys, but not
yeah.
I.
Like I've studied and I tell people it's a difference from studying than following and practicing. Like when I was studying
Right,
esotericism, when I studied mysticism, they look at me like, "Oh, you doing spells and stuff." I said, "Bro, I study it. I don't. I research
right.
on it. I
Me
don't
too.
practice it. It's a difference.
Yes, sir.
I can
You
tell
don't
you
want to
exactly what
practice it.
extras. I can tell you because yeah, I do it because when you come with me or something, I know exactly where you're getting it from. I know exactly what you're
Right,
talking. If a Satanist come to me talking about Satanist, I said, man, y'all. I said Satanist wasn't made off of just really believing in Satan. It was it was a counterattack against Christianity, and y'all are
right,
based off of occultism and esotericism and mysticism.
right.
Your teacher Anton LaVey comes is a student of Aleister Crowley.
Yep.
Scientology, the dude Robert L. Huber is a student of Anton LaVey. See, and because what you see when they made Satanism, it throws people off because they thinking like, oh, these people just Satan worship, but they are cultists. They no different. They are esoteric. They are no
Right,
different than a Mason. They're no different than
right.
a cultist like Aleister Crowley. They just use this name to throw you off from it. That's it.
Yep. Exactly. All of it, like you said, all of it ties in back the same. And even like the little women that like to practice the cards and saying they reading your future and all that, all of it ties back into the same boat, you know. So yeah, I
Yeah.
study I study up on that stuff myself. But like I said, I don't practice it because I know better. I ain't about to be smite. And
Yeah.
y'all see me on the news to my or I don't I know that brother, man. What happened to him? No, sir. No, sir. Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna practice. It's a different. Like, I'm trying to do a one of my shows I'm trying to do is how Christianity has voodoo
Right.
African spirituality in it. Because I want to
Yep.
show that how when these people came out, when people Africans came over here, certain ones came from Benin, and that's why when I did my
Hmm.
first one was the Dahomey tribe, and I was showing how the Dahomey
Right.
tribe
I
is
watched it.
now called the Benin tribe, and they actually are the originators
Right.
of the Von Doom. And
Right.
voodoo is actually a watered down version of Von Doom because it's
Right.
actually African spirituality, South American spirituality mixed in with Catholicism and Christianity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because when a lot of them came over here, they was converting to Christianity and they
Hmm.
wanted to keep their traditions. So when they did it in
Same
secret, they
practices and
hid a
stuff.
lot of their traditions under Christianity. Yeah,
Right.
so that's why you getting these dances, what they call the ring shout dances, where they getting
Hmm.
this clutching the Holy Spirit and dancing around and acting crazy.
Yes, sir.
That is a lot of that is influenced by African spirit. So I'm gonna break that down too. You know what I mean? So it's like
Hmm.
I try, you know what I mean. So yeah, it's
Yes,
because I
sir.
try to wake up people to a lot of this stuff because when you're a real researcher, man, and you
Hmm.
fall into this stuff, you're like, wow, this stuff is amazing. You want to share. It's not that I don't
Right.
show this stuff to make it seem I'm smarter than people. I
To
show this
be
stuff to
cocky.
say, look what I found,
Hmm.
man, and this stuff is
Yeah,
amazing.
I think a lot of people think
Yeah,
I'm like that too. I
yeah,
think they
and
a lot of people try to say that about me, but man, it's just about sharing information so people can know and be aware. So
yeah. He said they funny as for the tarot cards readers. Yeah. Hey,
yeah,
matter of
man.
fact, on Lifetime, I can't remember what day it is. A Lifetime, they about to have I don't know if you ever heard of what's that lady? What's that lady that said call me now? What's her
Miss
name?
Cleo,
The fake card lady, the
Miss
psychic lady.
Cleo, Miss
Yeah,
Cleo,
they
ain't
got
it?
a movie. They got a document. Yeah, they got a movie. They got a movie on Miss Cleo and Lady of Rage is playing her. It's about to come on
Okay, I
Lifetime. I
did
think
see
it's this
that.
one or
Yeah,
next one.
I heard about it. That's
Yeah, yeah.
crazy.
How she was a fake psychic. Yeah,
Hmm. That's my thing now that I be trying to tell people like it's like and that's why I be like expounding on that. There's no power except your power. All the other stuff is just illusion. And
yeah,
they get
yeah,
them tarot card readers and the people that say they
yeah,
can, do this stuff. They get mad when I tell them that, but I tell them anyway. Like, what power you talking about you have? you know, like what power is that?
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
No, they don't have power, and it's just they have minimal power. That's why I was showing like the Pharaoh and Moses. I was showing the difference between like the Pharaoh was using a type of power that was limited. So when
Right,
Moses used his power, it took over. You know what I'm saying? And that's why when people ask me, this lady, she was an Israelite, she studied voodoo, and she was like,
right,
why you say voodoo is bad? I said, I understand you can use voodoo for good or bad. I said the problem I have with it is it's not connected to the Most High. So that's why I don't deal with it because you're not using the Most High power.
right,
You're using something else, uh and the way I hear about the stuff like that, when I heard like Fulio, he was talking about Voodooism, man. And he said
right.
like he didn't show all of it, but he was telling me you cut a chicken head off, and then you go sit in this
Yeah, that's
casket
that. That's
in a
that
grave site
demonic.
for 3 days. Yeah, I'm like, I ain't sitting in no casket, in no grave site. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm not doing it. But hey,
Right.
each his own. I mean, each his own. They want to do that, that's on them. But I ain't doing that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
A
I
lot
most
of
definitely
from
ain't
a
sitting in no grave site. Yeah,
from a different perspective or whatever, for the people that actually do the stuff, and like I said, I don't do it, but I know people who have done it, and I see how they do it, and then how they ended up unhinged in the head from
yeah,
practicing that different stuff, and I try to explain that to different people like, hey. You want to say you practicing this type of power, but you just don't know that you're opening the door for your mind to be warped into illusion, and you gonna start thinking you see different things attacking you. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't understand that
yeah,
though, but they still play with it. Like the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing where they want to eat blood. Eat blood, like eat the what they call it, the placenta. They want to eat the
Oh
placenta.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
you don't supposed to do that. That's an abomination against God. So what do you think is gonna happen? You gonna
yeah.
start seeing crazy stuff, in your
And I
mind.
see,
Like, come
and
on.
that's what I mean. A lot of people see it, and that's why I teach the stuff with the Christianity, because a lot of people, especially black people down south, right? We when we all got converted to this Christianity and African spirituality, and like the people from Benin and stuff, when they brought this voodoo type religion and mix it in this Christianity, a lot of us adapted to it, and it connected to our lifetime. So we started doing a lot of voodoo stuff, and we didn't know it was voodoo. Like I tell people, um, a lot of black women, in my era, they used to try to put spaghetti, or in my mama era, they used to try to put spaghetti in blood in period blood in people's spaghetti because it's called a sex ritual, to where it hooks the man. And but when you go to the origin of that, it comes from voodoo. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff we do when you go, a lot of these deaconess back in the day, because hoodoo is a form of it's just another form of
Right,
voodoo mixed. It's African spirit because it's all African spirituality. But it's different
right,
forms coming from different places. But you had hoodoo churches where people were still doing
Right.
spirit rituals and still doing stuff, but they was
Old
doing it under
country
the name of
churches.
Christianity. Yeah, so you had
Hmm.
deaconess that come to church, but at home they still doing spells. They still doing,
Yep.
things that's connected to African spirituality. So that's what a lot of people don't know. So a lot of people, and you got superstitions. When you go
Hmm.
to origin of superstitions, when you walk under the ladder, that super and it's bad luck. That superstition goes all the way back into Egypt
Right. It
because
does.
they believe anything in a pyramid form will continue. If you walk through it, it actually is a gateway to another dimension. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I
So
heard about that.
a lot of yeah, so a lot of the superstition, a lot of the stuff we do, comes from all these other different places, and we just don't know where it comes from, and we just keep on
Right.
passing it down, and don't even know what it is. And that's why I did the effects on slavery because I wanted to show that a lot of stuff we do today comes from back in the day, and we just don't know. We just pass it down. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
why, like I was telling DOA, and I asked him about when it's thunder and lightning. Well, my mom used to make me turn everything off because she really believed
Right.
that me having the TV on was gonna make the electric cut off. You
Right.
know what
My
I'm saying?
grandma used
And
to do the
she
same
lived in
thing. Turn them lights off.
yeah,
It's Lord's
yeah,
work. Turn it
and see,
off.
it's so crazy because in my generation, I kind of knew more better than that, but they generation they didn't. So you looking at them
Right.
like y'all is crazy, but they didn't. Their generation they didn't look at it like that. They was taught by their mother because the farther you go up to your mother, the farther it got closer to slavery, the farther it got to miseducation. So they really
Hmm.
thought this stuff because their mother taught them that. But when they got
Right.
to us, because we know science and we started going to school, they started teaching us. You understood the only way your lights is going to go out if somebody hit that electric pole or lightning hit it
Right.
or something had to
A
happen like
lightning
that. It's
strike
not
that
going to be because
box.
my TV is on. Yeah, so you know what I started doing? I started leaving the TV on. Like, Mom, I'm not cutting this TV off. I'm not sitting in the dark. You know
I
what
know
I'm
you
saying?
ain't up, man.
Yeah, but she started seeing that it was. She started seeing that it don't happen like that, and she started accepting it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm like, well, I'm not sitting here all day because no light. And then what I look like turning the TV off? Then when we try to turn the TV back on, the lights ain't off. The lights off. So we know that. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? So it's like, man, now I gotta sit in the dark. But I could have just been looking at TV till the lights was blown
Right.
out.
Yes, sir. Your grandmother would, well, your mother would be my grandmother. So that's how I know in
Yeah.
that time. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
It
sir.
used to be so crazy. I'd be like, man, you know what I mean? So it's like a lot of stuff. I love and that like my main thing I love is like when I research is origin. I love origin. I love etymology. I love the origin of things. And it's like because it's so amazing how people we walk around all day we just don't know how nothing like salary, right? Like
Mm,
salary as far as getting paid salary. People don't
right.
know that it comes from Rome to where people was getting paid with salt. You see
I
what
think I
I'm saying?
have
So
read that
they used
once
to pay you with
before.
salt. Yeah.
Salt or
And it
sugar or
became
something like
salary,
that.
the word salary. Yeah, then it became the word salary. Now, when say salary, we just think, oh, we working, people give us money, but it actually came from a form of being paid with salt,
Maybe with
because salt was
salt.
it was a luxurious thing. Because think about it, if you never had salt before, right?
Right. You
Even though we
love it.
know salt bad is now, and you first time you ever taste salt in your life, just think about your whole 30 years you never taste salt, and somebody gave you some fries with salt on it. Man, that shit like crack.
Right.
That's like what crack in
I'm
the
going to
'80s.
get
You
that
know
every
what I'm saying?
day. Exactly.
Yeah. So just imagine
Ain't
sugar.
lying.
Just imagine what
Yes,
sugar here.
sir.
Like this stuff was like gold when that stuff first came. You know what I mean? That
Right.
stuff was like
What's
gold.
that?
Like people
Powdered
was
substance,
so
sugar.
addicted to stuff. Yeah, they didn't want
Yes,
they don't.
sir.
That's why they don't understand how people in Europe was coming in. They like, man, we taking over this shit because they look at they because most people is
Y'all
looking
got
at it like
salt.
it's a product of yeah. We looking at it as a product of nature that we had it and it's not worth nothing as they look at it.
Right.
They look at it like it's worth something because if I take it from here and I take this shit to the king and this man never had this, guess how much money if I bring a bag of salt and to back to Europe to the king, and he never ever taste sugar. Just imagine how much money he's going to give me for this sugar once he tastes
Right.
it. All this
You finna
salt,
go to war for that salt.
all these spices that I took. Yeah, you
Yep.
see what I'm saying?
Yes,
It's a
sir.
different value to it. That's how a lot of the takeover happened because when they came
Mm-hmm.
around, they looking at it's because people look at it as oh it's slavery because these people were white, these people were black. It was a money game. That's why I
Yeah,
try
it
to show that
was. It
Africans was in
was.
it, Indians was in it.
It
It was
was.
all about money. When they first, but the thing is when they first got here. we didn't value it the same way they valued it. So when they went
Hmm.
to Mexico,
Just like
they said
gold.
they said when they yeah, they said when they went to Mexico, they said they said these indigenous people in Mexico, they said they went to go see the king. You know, Cortez said in the book he went to go see the king. He said this man's whole neck was full of diamonds. His hands. He said his whole wall was built in diamonds
Yep.
because it didn't. It was more of a status
The abundance of it.
than value. So
Hmm.
when they said, but when Christopher Columbus said, "Oh, these people were so good," they didn't know I was coming to conquer them because they
Colombo.
didn't think of these people. Yeah, they didn't think of these people as coming and looking at it at that type of value. They look at it like, oh,
Right.
he said they was giving me gold bars for shoes because we didn't
Hmm.
look at it in that way. They did. So when they came, it was money. It was money game. So when the money system started changing, then you got the Africans, you had other Native Americans, you had everybody join in because it was a profit
That's
because they started doing stuff for weapons. And now
right.
we beef with this tribe and these people have this thing called a gun. And if I
The
get this
Papa
gun,
Booms.
we could be the most powerful tribe in this around this area right here. And that's how people start thinking. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like everything was a power and money game. Everybody had that mindset.
Was.
They tried to make it. Yeah, they tried to these Pan Africans and Black supremacists. They tried to make it until that it was all just a race thing when it wasn't. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
I
people was
agree.
working together doing this. Like they was enslaving it. Like they enslaved this Islamic prince one time. You know what I'm saying? And and they freed them. You know what I'm saying? In America, because guess why? Because his daddy, the king, had a treaty with them because he
Right.
was helping enslaving people. You see what I'm saying? And he was
Isn't
helping
that
bringing
ain't
them
that
over here, so they had treaties.
wasn't that like the original story of so
What his
called
name
Kunta
was?
Kinte?
Oh well, see, Kunta Kinte, right? Kunta, the Roots was a
Right.
fake story, right? Roots was a
Right.
story.
Right.
Roots was based off a story called Africa. It was a white guy that wrote this
Right.
book called Africa, and he made Kunta Kinte in Africa, and the dude that made Roots or his family supposed to be based off of that. He took these characters out of that book called Africa and made
Right.
roots
Right.
out of
Right.
it. So when a white
Right.
dude found out he did that, he sued them and won. You see what I'm saying? So that's why, and that's if anybody realizes this, the greatest movie that made black people hate white people and think that the racism was just
Was
straight black and
Roots.
white was Roots.
Yes, sir.
Roots
It
was the
was.
main movie that made everything change. I remember when I first watched it, boy, I wanted to beat up every white person I
Yes,
seen. You see what
sir.
I'm saying? Just
Made
because
you
of that.
mad.
But when I started reading the history, yeah, when I started reading the history, I started seeing that it was black slave masters and it
Hmm.
was high yellow people and
Yep.
it was a overseer, black overseers, and
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
sir.
It wasn't like people are portraying history because they're trying to set an agenda and they don't want people to
Right.
know about that. That's why I go out and I go I don't like see I'm a person like I believe the Most High when I was homeless for them 12 years, right? I believe Most High was setting me up for war. You know what I'm saying? I tell people
Right.
I don't care who don't like me. I don't care who don't hang with me because I grew up in you know what I'm saying. I was alone anyway when I was outside. I don't care.
Right.
Like I talk. If it's the
Talk the
truth, I'm gonna
points.
talk it. And a lot of people have fear.
Yes,
A lot of
sir.
people have fear in talking the truth because they think people ain't gonna listen.
Right. Right.
And there's a lot
Exactly.
of people out here who think like you, and you gotta speak up. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta let them know like,
Yes,
no,
sir.
I'm not gonna let y'all keep teaching this history, man, because it ain't real. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna keep teaching this and teaching this and teaching this, and then
Hmm.
we plan. Because what happened is black people are becoming we are victim blaming.
Right.
And I
Exactly.
used to do that. Everything that happens, oh, it's because this happened in
Yep.
1960. That's why you know what I mean? The crack era did, and I understand
Right.
these things did cause traumas to us,
Right.
but we can't. When I was in the streets, I thought I was just a thug. When I caught my felony, I was like, I ain't gonna never be nothing but a gangster. I'm gonna just have to sell drugs the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? And I actually got my gun rights back. I got my car. I got
That's good.
I'm a store manager at a car shop. You know what I'm saying? So he's like,
Oh,
yeah, I
okay.
changed my whole life around. But I
Hmm.
never thought you could. I thought America
Right.
hated black people so much that you just couldn't do nothing. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And
You hey, you right
it's like
about
now
that.
I
You
understand, man. Is
100.
yeah,
Yeah. You 100 because
yeah,
I had
because
that
what
mind
made
frame
me,
too.
yeah, what made me change is when I started studying history, because when I went into history and I seen that, man, our people was going through way worse than we go through, and they was living better than us.
Right.
How does that? How is that? How are you getting hung at a time and you getting all this? You getting segregated, but you still, as a black community, you still have better black communities than we have today.
Right. Like Tulsa.
So just like Malcolm X said, just like yeah, just like Malcolm X said, right? He said the Jewish was the first gangster that was living in poverty. Then
Yep.
the Irish, I mean, then the Irish
The
came.
Irish.
No. Then the
Hmm.
Italians came. Yeah, then the Italians came. Then the Irish came. But he said, you know what all three of them did when they was in poverty, when they was living in the ghetto? They got out of it. What
Right.
happened is they didn't want their sons to be gangsters. They told their sons to be a
Right.
lawyer, a doctor, to get them, and they moved out the community generationally. We know we did. We told our children to be gangsters. We told our
Yep.
children to stay a
And think
drug
it make it
dealer,
look
and that's
fun.
why we haven't got out nothing yet. And we hate the people who have. We look at a black person that leaves out of the community and go to college and get his son out of it. We look at him as a sellout
Right.
because we want him to feel like we do. You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem we
Sir.
have. We don't look at it like the other races did. And Malcolm X spoke on that. That's what he said. He said that's why we in this condition. He basically said because you keeping yourself in this condition there. We can't keep blaming people no more. We can't.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And that's
100%.
why my son, I made sure my son hasn't been in jail. Well, he
Right.
got in trouble one time, right? And he was a teacher grabbed him. He pushed the teacher off him, but and he had to go to jail for like an hour. The teacher
Yeah.
dropped the charges though, but when he went to jail, I went with him. So I'm sitting there with him. So he got up and they patting him down. And he looking at us, right? I said, well, yeah,
Mhm.
you can't. I said, we can't come with you. I was like, and they gonna take your cell phone. I said, you can be able to play your game. I said, and you can't be scared when you go in there. I said, and you got to
Yeah.
be tough. He went there for 1 hour. He came
Mm.
out. He said, Dad, I never want to go back in there. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
But my son has never. Other than that, he'd never been in jail. You know what I'm saying? He graduated high school. He got a job. He got his license. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
I'd be so proud because I told him, I said, man, you doing way better at 20 years old than I was doing. You know what I'm saying? And so
Right.
it's like it's like this is how you supposed to teach your next generation, not to be you. You're supposed to be better than me, and I'm
Right.
glad that you're better than me because now you will teach your son how to be better than you, and that's when we get to that level of success generationally because you have to learn how to sacrifice yourself for the next generation. If you
Yes,
don't know how to
sir.
sacrifice yourself for the next generation, then nothing's going to change because people are so selfish.
Hmm.
They want stuff in their
Right.
generation. You might not gonna succeed like you want to. You're not gonna make but you can teach your next generation how to do it. When you die,
Hmm.
get life insurance. Because I talked to a girl now that teach me the life insurance, and I tell her, yeah, I want life insurance. Get life insurance. Get that hundred
Right.
thousand dollar life insurance. So when you
Yes,
pass
sir.
away, your son can bury you, and he can have money. He can start off. He can start off
Start that
right.
little
So
business or something
that's what
or
I'm
some
working on
land.
now. Stuff like that. Yeah, you see what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So it's like you got to learn how to sacrifice a lot of stuff. Oh,
Right.
thank you,
Hey,
y'all, son.
yeah, yeah, I 100% agree
Yeah.
about
So
that.
yeah, you can go. My bad. I forget. I
Oh
keep
yeah,
forgetting
yeah.
lagging.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge lagging in it. Yeah, I'm just saying I 100%
Yeah.
agree. And in the stage in my life, that's where I'm at now, trying to build my family back up when my family been going through so many struggles and problems because they all fall away from y'all, and now it's at the point where I love my pop to death and I love my mom to death. But it's like now they dropped the ball, so now it's up to me to be like, okay, hey, I gotta accumulate wealth. I gotta accumulate land. You know what I'm saying? I gotta make sure the family's great. Gotta bring much of the family I can back together. You know what I'm saying? Make sure we're a strong tribe. Make sure that that we all working together to, what I'm saying, to keep this thing going. So that's where I'm at now, and if I gotta do it all by myself, then that's
Yeah.
that's what it's about. You gotta do it for your own circle, our own tribe, to make your own people, make your people own strong, and pass it on like you said. You know. Now, and that's not to say the
Yeah.
things
Because
that.
I tell people don't be talking about this black power, black.
Yep.
No, I was saying, don't tell people about this black power, black pride stuff and community work, and then you ain't even fixing your own. You're not even fixing your generation first. You see what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
you gotta fix your generation first to make sure they
Exactly.
doing good. You know what I mean? Like my son is what matters. Like I
Your
can't
circle,
control
your
the whole
family.
community, but I can control the people that's around me, the people that I love, and I can help them. Yeah, and I can help them with stuff, and
Yes,
even if it's
sir.
not just cash, it's mentally, it's
Mm-hmm.
talking, it's caring, it's you know what
You
I'm
said
saying. Like I
something
tell my son all the time, I love you, because
mm-hmm.
I was taught so tough. Yeah, 'cause I was taught so tough. I was taught so tough to not say I love. Like I never told. Like it's gonna be crazy, but I never told my mom I love her until I got like before she
Yeah.
died. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
I
Because
was
I
the
was
same
so
way.
because me saying love you to somebody was just so.
Make you like you
Yeah,
soft.
I felt so weak when I said it because I was taught
Mm-hmm.
you don't cry. Yeah, you don't cry, you don't hug your mama, you don't kiss. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And when she passed away, and I was telling her I love her and the stuff like that. It made me feel. It didn't make me feel weak. It made me
Took a
feel
burden off
good
of
to
you.
let her know that I love her before she passed. You know what I'm saying? When my yeah, when my boy passed, right? He had a self defense charge where he had killed somebody, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And he told me about the nightmares he have, all that, you
Yeah.
know. But he was a great father, man. Like when he got older, he started taking care of the child. He worked, and everybody still was looking at him as the old. Like I mean, he still was a real, real guy. But
Yeah, everybody looking at the
he
OG.
stayed in working and taking care of his children. And one day before he died, yeah, before he died, I called him up and I said, "Man, can I do this Father's Day honoring you?" And he was like, "Yeah, not honoring them and talk about how good, how great he was a father, man." He was like, "Man, that's the best thing give a person can give me, man," because it was like, the way everybody looked at me. They looked at me as the street guy, the guy that did this, the tough guy,
Mm-hmm.
the killer, whatever. But you seen the father in me. You know what I'm saying? You seen something that I was proud of. I mean, that's
Right.
basically how I looked at. So it lets me know every time my son do something, I tell him I'm proud of you now. I told him when he couldn't pay his phone bill, right? So
Mm.
I paid it. And I said, "Look, son, I told you, I said, whatever you need, I got you, man, because you did everything I asked you to do." And I said, "I'm proud of you, and you did, you
Right.
doing, as long as you working and you doing what you're supposed to do, I got your back. I don't care
Right.
how much it hurts me. You know what I'm saying? I could be sleeping outside, motherfucker, and if I'm working and I could be able to help you, I'm gonna
That's
do it
right.
because I want you to survive. I
Yes,
love you enough
sir.
to want you to thrive. You know what I'm saying? And I want you to know you have your back. Because when I grew up in this generation, I didn't have back. We grew up
Right.
poor. My mama couldn't do that. She a single mother on welfare. That with diabetes, she disability. We live in a section 8. We got three. It's three of us, so we
Right.
had to do. I mean, I hate to say we had to because that's another excuse we do, but we
Yeah.
felt like we had to because the
Right. Right.
condition we was in. But you not in this condition. Your mother
Exactly.
made sure you went to great schools. Your mother made sure you live in a great era, and that's why I told her. I said, "Man, you might want a great wife, but you was an amazing mother." You know what I'm saying? Like, and I can't say you
Right.
not because you put my son in conditions where didn't have to live like me, and that's I had to give you that respect. You feel what I'm saying? So I learned how to be more humble and acknowledge things that people have done and try to be more softful. It still feel weird because I just what I'm saying, I'm still getting
Yeah,
used
I
to
get
it, but
it.
because I was so hardened. You know what I mean? Like even when my mama died,
hmm
man. Even when my mama died, I tried to fight my tears. It was like the tears was trying to come, but I was trying to toughen myself up. Like, nigga, you don't be crying. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But it was like I could. It was like I was angry I was crying and I was ready for her to go, but I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to say I love you. I didn't know how to say and I forced myself to do it because I wanted her to notice before she left. So that's why when people say, man, telling people you love them, telling people how you feel because you never know when a person going to go. You have to do that, man,
Right.
because you have to do it because you're going to have regret when that person leaves. And I'm glad I did do it because I at least don't have that regret. At least I had, I just my regret was my life that I now that I have a son, I look at it like, damn, look what I put my mama through. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
just imagine my son was doing what I did. I would be so worried. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
it was like wow. Like my mama was a strong. I had to. It made me realize how strong she was
Right.
because he had three crazy sons. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like wow, she was a strong woman. She was stronger than I thought she was. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I respect people talk about single mothers.
Right.
And yes, they have certain some to blame, and fathers who left have some to blame. But
Right.
the one thing they can't say is mothers stayed around. They can say all about they
Yep.
want about single mothers, but they still around their child. So
Right.
I give them respect for doing that.
Did it cut off?
Who did say Amir? No, no, it's still on.
Oh, okay,
I was
okay.
reading.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you. That's why I see little stuff and I say stuff like, hey, get off that, single mother because you don't know what struggle she's going through. I agree.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. And, like I said, yeah, it's just like you can't just blame both sides. Now it's not that the mother it's not a good mother. It's just I tell people a mother can't raise a man.
Right,
And some women get mad at me when I say that. I say because a man can't raise a woman. We don't know.
right,
Like when you have your period, I don't know what your period feels like. I don't know the hormones that come with it. I would have to. And I know single fathers, and what they do is they go to other women and
right.
they get them to help them. They still
Yep,
single fathers, but they still have
most
women around
definitely.
them. They can tell them this is what you do when your daughter have a period. But a
Right.
lot of times, as a not a lot of times the difference between a man, right? And I told him like in one of my songs I was explaining. Um, I say in the hood, I said it's crazy in the hood what we go through. No fathers to the hood niggas who we look to. You see what I'm saying? So I'm
Right.
saying that we ain't had no fathers, so we went in the hood and we learned from other men who didn't have fathers.
Yep.
So we wasn't taught how to be a man through our mother or this father, this man that was trying to teach us. So
Hmm.
we never really grew up. We thought a man was fighting. We thought a man was selling
Right.
drugs. We thought a man was being the toughest guy. That's not what a man is. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? I had to
I
learn that's
agree.
not what a man is.
I had to
So
learn
it's
that
like,
myself.
yeah,
So
so it's like it's just crazy because how things change, man. When you come from the '90s, like I tell myself, I said, man, I grew up in era we ain't have beepers. I mean, we ain't have we ain't have cell phones. All we had was beepers. When a person
right. I
beeped you, you
remember
had
the
to go on a
beepers.
payphone. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? You had to go to payphone to call the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I remember the phones first started coming around in the hood. And, so I said, now
Them
y'all look at it
Kias.
like it's normal.
Them
Yeah,
flat
I said y'all
big.
look at it like it's normal. You remember how we used to
Hmm.
look at the movies and they had people watching each other and talking to each other on the phone through a camera? We
Yep.
looked at that like that was some futuristic, like that shit gonna happen in the future. Now
Right.
people do it like it's normal, don't even know. You know
Right.
what
That's
I'm
crazy.
saying? Yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, I feel like your lesson was good. I feel like, man, you talk
yeah.
a lot of great knowledge that you're supposed to have. As a, like you say, you don't look at yourself as an elder, but I look at you as an elder because you
No,
older
thank
than
you.
me. Man, and
Yeah,
I love y'all walk because y'all sticking to the truth. What I'm saying? I feel like that's a lot that's missing out our community as growing up as a younger male, we missing that guidance that you all supposed to have, man. I love it. That's why I'm always tuned in, listening. I always, follow y'all and see what y'all talking about, man. Because I want to know. I want to be one day when I, be old. I want to say, yeah, they go see what the elder Vic got to say. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to be, man. I
yeah,
want to be
yeah,
like y'all. I don't want to be like Mike. You feel me? Real.
yep, yep,
you know. That's what I want to be, man. I want to be
yeah.
an elder like y'all, man. Be able to,
That's
teach
what's
the
up,
youth
man.
some and tell them the right way to go.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you almost you there, man. You know what I mean? Like I said, you found you slash idol. Your son. I mean, he won too. You know what I mean? So
Right,
it's like we. I feel like I said, I think we elders in practicing. You know what I'm saying?
right,
I think the true elders I think the true elders is Allen and DOA. You know what I'm saying? Because
right.
the yeah, because the elder to me is not just the knowledge we know, it's to how they carry
Uh,
themselves. You see what I'm saying? So
that's
it's
true.
like they carry themselves like an elder. Um,
Right,
I'm learning how to carry myself like an elder. I always had the knowledge, but knowledge don't make you an elder. And it makes you wise. It's a part of becoming an elder. But that's why I say I still got more years because I'm still a physical person, man. I still like, the way dudes talking, man. I ain't gonna say them, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm still like, you can't say certain stuff to me if you was where I'm at, if you was in front of me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I got to learn how to calm that down too. But I'm getting to a more humble level where I let stuff slide than I used to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said I my elders to me, like DOA numbers, they're elders to me in as far as biblical wisdom and stuff like that, right?
Right.
But where I'm from, where I think you down south too, but where I'm from, an elder was like my great uncle
Right.
who was
Right.
97 years old. My great aunt who was 80. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like they was like my elders. Like
Right. That's how it's
they was
supposed to be in
people.
your
They was people
family
who
anyway.
almost lived 100 years old. Yeah, you know what I mean. And they lived. They could they lived like my great uncle was so old. It was people 50, 60 years old talking about how he raised them. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Like that's how old my uncle was. My great uncle was. I'm like, man, you 60 years old. What you talking about? You was a child when my uncle was. My child. Even though he's 60, think about my uncle still was 37 years old when he was born.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I looked at it like, wow.
That's
And my
100.
uncle, man, my uncle was working on lawnmowers. He was cutting grass. He was tilling the ground. He was teaching me how to till the ground. He's doing all this at 95, 96 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
he
That's
lost his
100.
mind. Yeah, he wanted to live to 100 years old, but he lost his mind like 97. You know what I'm saying? And when they put him in that nursing home, he didn't last one day because all my family where I live, all my
Wow.
family built their houses from the ground up. They put the electricity in their house. They had a
Oh,
private
okay.
property
That's how it's
like on
supposed
my
to be.
mama's side. Yeah, yeah. So they live like that old fashioned church. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
that's why I tell you,
Yeah.
church people, I'll
Right.
never disrespect my elder church people.
Right.
Because when you talk
Uh,
about real Christians, they was real Christians. Like
yeah.
you know what I mean? They ain't play that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm telling you, you come in the house with a woman, you come in the house with a woman with pants on, they gonna say, why you got a wife? Why your girl got pants on? Tell her to put a dress on.
Right.
They was like that. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
They ain't believe in
Right.
dressing a certain way. They ain't do none of it. If you ain't married, my mom was like, if you ain't married, you're not gonna sleep in his house. You're not gonna have no
Yes,
girl in his house. You
sir.
gotta
You
be
get out of
married
this
to her. Like,
house.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I grew up into that old fashioned respect. That's why I tell people like people get mad sometimes when I say apostle. Like I respect apostle, but I say I don't call him my elder because
Right.
a person his age don't act like my great uncle did. He don't act
Yeah.
like
I
an
ain't got
elder
no
to me,
comment
so
for
I can't really
that.
call
But
him
you
my
right.
elder. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I just don't call him that. Just because you 100 years old, that don't mean I supposed to. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Right.
I'm not gonna harm you or nothing, or do nothing to you or disrespect you like a person my age. But I'm just saying, I'm not gonna respect you as no elder. Don't think that. You know what I mean? And you're not gonna get respect as an elder the way you act. You know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
just be real. I ain't attacking them or none of that. You know what I'm saying? I think it's some good things about him, and I think it's some bad things about him. But I just
Right.
can't compare him to I can't compare him to the elders I grew under. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So somebody else called him an elder. I'm not gonna say he don't call him an elder. I'm just saying to my comparison to what the elder is was to me, I can't call him one.
Right. Yeah, I get it. Hey, but I'm about to get ready to jump off here, man. Like I said, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
me
Good
too, me
talk,
too.
dude. Nice show. Great lesson.
Yeah, you can say your outing before you go, and I'm gonna get out
Okay.
here.
Okay, with everybody that tuned into the show, you know what I'm saying, keep your head up, stay in the walking in truth. Shalom.
Yeah, and this the mad scientist, aka Gabriel Hamalakia. There's a great, this a lesson that I was trying to teach people, trying to get them to understand mythology, angelology, how things work, and you go back and listen to the show. Peace to Smash Idol, man. Peace to Yasan. You know what I'm saying? Peace to Vakar. Peace to Great 202. Peace to all y'all brothers, man. I hope we can build more. I hope y'all come on the show, man, and show some of y'all knowledge too, man. We be sitting back waiting for y'all to come up too, man. We know y'all got knowledge. Y'all son, I see you be talking about the language, baby. I know you know a lot about that language. You know what I'm saying? And Smash Idol, y'all, you and Vakar. I know y'all learned a lot, man, because y'all sit around and go everywhere. So peace out. I hope y'all enjoy. If you haven't watched the whole video, go back and watch. And we out.